So, reminders from last session. Coatlmox got a Xenos sample from... Wait, no, this is the wrong campaign. Reminders from last session. Note down thoughts and ideas from Thousand Suns tour. Planning meeting with Magnus and Father. Corral continues to experiment with prescribed weapons-grade trank. There are other goo-like entities in the Great Ocean, ? Thousand Suns offered knowledge share. Talk to Father about psychic shit.
Daddy, my mind is hurting.
Thousand Suns' ship is covered in psychic wards. Project Octopus Cavalry.
Just saying, there could be a use, okay?
Oh dear, yeah. What was it? It was,
You do not get to go, oh dear. I'm sorry, Nicholas. You long since have lost that right.
I didn't say oh dear. Oh, did I say oh dear?
You just said oh dear. Say, oh dear.
Yeah. You said it like you said...
It was oh dear as in, oh dear, he's the commander. I believe the phrase was, I'm the commander. I can do it.
I think you'll find I'm the little commander, or whatever the line is.
Yeah.
It was written down.
The phrase was, it's funny, because I'm Legion Master.
That was it.
So, who wants to go first? Should probably be the planning team, right?
Yeah, the Magnus team.
Which I believe was Coayah and Mackie.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So, the two of you wind through the endless, twisting, silvered decks of the Foreshadow. You pass numerous strange engravings, some of which hurt the mind a little bit when stared at for just too long, some of which produce an odd, calming effect. So much of it seems like it may very well be psychoactive. Magnus is talking as you go, explaining this and that function of the ship.
I would like to commend him. Not commend him, that's the wrong word. Give some show that, it's nice to see someone who also appreciates their ships in and out as much as we do. Yeah, because it seems like a lot of the primarchs and shit like that, they don't really give a shit.
We've met one other one.
Yeah, 3.
One of them didn't have a ship.
Well, that's just adds to my point, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not been super impressed with the professionalism of the other Primarchs he's met. Mortarion, okay, somewhat neat at the very least. Your Primarch clearly doesn't care about your ship too much. No. And Uncle Wolf wasn't capable of caring about much at all.
Mm.
Magnus the Red is by far and away the most impressive Primarch Mackie's encountered, at least by some metrics.
It's like, this guy looks like he's got his shit together. He doesn't seem too maladjusted, so far anyway.
Other than the being red and having the weird...
You know what? We've been travelling the stars for 45 years or something at this point, or however long it's been, just for the expansion phase of whatever we're doing. I'm sure we've seen weirder than red-skinned people.
We did describe it...
there's more copper right now, right? It's quite light.
Exactly, we did describe him as copper-skinned.
Yeah. So
I thought we were doing the full thing.
He's not crimson at the moment, he's copper.
I think he also said there's some sort of psychoactive element to it where some people just see him redder than
he
other
does
people.
have a milder version of the Emperor's Mimo vision, but that said, he has some level of control over it as well. He's not currently literally Scarlet. That's more like increasingly corrupted Magnus's shtick.
Mm.
Or when moments of psychic power flare and people see it as a foreshadowing of the fate he will inevitably succumb to. But, he never seems to quite read into the metaphor. Why would you make an interested noise at that? At the phrase, the fate he will inevitably succumb to.
You mean the fate I will inevitably succumb to, says Nick, as he plans to turn red.
desperately trying to destiny cuck Magnus.
Magnus, but not quite as red as Nick.
It's a terrible one.
Clearly, it's the colour that gives him his power.
Haha, red ones go psychicer.
Yeah.
So, I will take Fellowship at a -20, please, Ollie. Charm over Fellowship at a -20.
Why -20?
You are getting Primarch Visioned, double strength.
Does that not surely mean that I would be complimenting him even more?
Yes, but not eloquently.
Well, if I can feel that level of aura coming off where it's going to be at a -20, then fuck that noise. I'm not going to risk, insulting Magnus.
I'm going to say he's 1, in a good mood, 2, likes you, and 3, you'd probably need to hit 4 degrees of failure or worse to really piss him off. The first couple of degrees, he's just going to be like, oh, you, because this is the standard reaction they experience. Mortarion was not in a good mood, and you poked him right in the childhood trauma.
Yeah, you've got to stop doing it, to be honest.
It's okay. So if you still don't want to say it to Magnus, that's fine. But this would be a more forgiving roll.
Okay, Charm over Fellowship then.
Okay.
That's
I believe in you. Get a 1. Get Peer Magnus. I believe in you. You can do this, Ollie.
Well, I've got another 1.
That's 2 degrees of success.
That is 2 degrees of success indeed.
Yeah, okay. On 2 degrees of success, as you compliment Magnus on the inner workings of his ship, on the beautiful inlay, on the care and craftsmanship he's clearly shown for it, the Primarch seems to take a distinct liking to you, slowing his pace ever so slightly to allow you to keep up more readily with him and Father. He doesn't necessarily engage you more directly in conversation, but you certainly feel a subtle turning of favour.
Fuck yeah. Nice.
Okay. The 4 of you continue to whirl through room after room after room, corridor after corridor, till eventually you reach what is very clearly not Magnus's inner sanctum, but instead a lesser strategium. You pass through a flanking brace of, is it Sekhmet guards?
Yeah, Sekhmet Terminators are the guard of the Crimson King, so yes.
Yes, Sekhmet Terminators.
The Sekhmet Elite and then the Kennetai Blade Masters. Because no one ever said the space Egyptians couldn't be weebs.
They're pretty cool looking Terminator, aren't they? I mean, it's got a giant "Hey, hit me" sign on the head, but it's pretty neat.
And lots of Terminators have very silly helmets, yeah.
Very true. I also really, really like their Kopeshes. They're beautifully dumb in all the best ways. There is no good reason to have a Kopesh in 40, like in any scenario really, let alone chain Kopeshes. That's just, I love them. Anywho,
sickle swords are actually meant to be pretty good in combat because you can use them for them. They can have a lot of variety, right? That's what I understood. Anyway.
They're not bad for the environment they were built in, but as with all weapons, they are purpose-driven. And
yeah,
curved swords to the degree. Like, there is a difference between a slightly curved scimitar and a Sekhmet, which is more or less just straight up a sickle. Sekhmet, sorry, a Kopesh.
Kopesh? Kopesh?
You're telling me the ancient Egyptians didn't want their swords to be didn't expect their swords to be used in cramped space fights?
It's not even cramped space fights specifically, it's more than anywho. Point being, you pass through a flanking guard of towering red Sekhmet Terminators. You notice seals on the walls and doorway glow ever so slightly as you pass through them. There's an almost imperceptible change to the atmospheric pressure. Something about this small room, caked in symbology, with a bookcase over to one side stacked with an eclectic-looking series of novels, research works, who knows. And
clearly this is where Magnus hides his FAP collection.
A medium-sized, ornate, silvery hololith in the middle. Something about it all reminds you of the Librarian, back aboard the Price of Defiance.
Turns round, demon in bowl. Ah, yes, just like home.
So where do you keep your goal of boo, Magnus? Your bowl of goo rather than your goal of boo, but you know what I mean. Please tell me Magnus is a bowl of goo.
Magnus is the bowl of goo.
So I have been listening to Thousand Suns, a Thousand Suns, not too far into it yet, but so far at least, Magnus explicitly doesn't have a bowl of goo. Everyone else has, it's not quite a bowl of goo, but it's more like a, I guess, demonic Pikachu.
Yeah, a little friend. We saw them last session.
You did, yeah. I got the portrayal a little bit wrong, but, not badly enough that it's worth rejigging. But they also have more of a friendly. Well, they work in partnership with theirs, whereas young Nicholas was always losing social engagements to it, and then eventually betrayed it. Magnus turns, powering on the hololith with a wave of his hand. I have a recommendation for you both. For you both. There's 3 of you. Magnus can't count to 3.
One of them's on his blind side.
Look.
Oh no.
As we know, he maxed out his charisma to use his powers, but he didn't stack int or wisdom. He is a D&D paladin.
He's got high int, low wisdom. High int, high charisma, low wisdom, low luck. I have a recommendation for 3 of you. Our brother! Sorry?
Why is he suddenly Sean Connery chewing on a handful of bees?
That's exactly what what Magnus sounds like. And because I want to do more distinct voices, so we're going with it.
What?
Our brother Mortarion refuses to acknowledge that the only way to bring this world to compliance and its libraries into the service of the Imperium is to use the Great Ocean. I propose a strike force through the psychic wars protecting the planet. You and I, he gestures at your father, as well as some of our most elite warriors, transported through the Empyrean onto the planet's surface.
I am in agreement, Magnus. Brother, primarch. I forget what you meant to call him. Is it brother or lord?
My lord.
My lord.
For him.
What was the other one, though? We were talking about another one last session. Fine, my lord it is.
I think it's my lord, or if you're talking to Horus after Ulanor, it's War Master. But other than that, yeah,
so it's with your Primarch. You say, generally
Father.
legions say brother rather than father, but your legion so far has been very... that does depend slightly on circumstance, and also your legion has been very exclusively saying father, with the notable exception of Coayah. Which is very much a statement of intent.
You're not my real dad.
Yes.
He's literally not.
That is the intent.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, so I agree, my lord. A strike force is what I also suggested to... do I call them Primarch?
The Lord Mortarion.
Lord Mortarion.
You stumble over your words for the briefest moment as you struggle to find the correct, respectful term for that gaunt, horrifying figure that you almost feel still imprinted on the insides of your eyelids.
I feel, I think Mackie's overriding feeling of him, apart from the lingering psychic fear that would have been caused, I think it would be sadness, actually.
Yeah.
He has all this, and he still has to act like that. That feels just a bit sad, to be honest. I feel bad for the guy. Clearly he has no charisma. Not charisma, he rules through fear, rather than through being a good dude. And that's just a sad way to live. So I'm going to tell Magnus that yes, I suggested a somewhat similar plan to Lord Mortarion, though, he had his problems with it. However, I've never heard of a warp jump so close to a planet, i.e. inside the atmosphere.
Magnus shakes his head. Not a warp jump per se. I can open a path through the wards the witches have set up. I can guide us through the Empyrean itself. We will not be jumping in the same way a starship might. Instead, we will be hopping on a small eddy through the great ocean, a tiny current, down to the planet's surface. There, our surgical strike will cut the heart out of their religious heads. This will throw them into disarray and allow the Thousand Suns, and potentially your own legion, should you wish it, to launch a more in-depth strike across the rest of the planet.
That sounds like a capital idea. It was my understanding that the weather is what's preventing most of our forces from landing, as well as shielded Imperial, I guess, like warp walls or warp force fields. Like, I don't know what the term is, I can't remember. Do we have knowledge of the best places to disable such powers that keep destroying our forces when they attempt to leave? Of that, do we have knowledge of that location?
Magnus nods. I believe I can find where they lair. The brightest spot in the warp will surely be home to the most powerful of their psykers.
I wish I was at this planning meeting. This all sounds wild.
I cannot help but feel, Lord Magnus, that the enemy will be expecting a psychic attack. They have already seen how the Lord Mortarion's strategies of attempting to slog through a hurricane have failed utterly. No doubt they are thinking that their flank there secure, and they are struggling to think of how they might be attacked. Now, if you say these, and if what you say is true, that these are mighty psykers to create such a barrier, then no doubt they would acknowledge that others could be well versed in that craft. In that case, they might well be expecting you to attack that way, and we would be opening ourselves up to unnecessary risk. I would propose an addendum to your plan.
Magnus gestures the hololith. By all means.
How strong would you say the telekines of your legion are?
His multi-hued eye flashes at you, turning red, then green, then swirling orange. I would say we can furnish you with some of the most powerful psykers in the Adeptus Astartes. Telekines or otherwise.
But you see, the Lord Mortarion tried and has rendered that sphere seemingly, to them, presumably, unassailable. However, when you fight a storm, you don't sail into it slowly and let yourself be dragged along. You punch straight through it. My plan is to deploy vast drop pod assaults, but instead of travelling at the normal speed, which clearly would be affected by the whipping winds, we would be forced to fire them at several times their regular deployment speed, meaning that our deployment would be extremely heavy. Now, the reason I ask for your psykers is so that once we punch through the weather layer, which presumably does not extend all the way down to the cities, we would need their aid in slowing down enough to ensure our warriors are not killed on impact. This deployment would then draw the enemy's attention, allowing their defences in the Empyrean to drop, and you yourself to lead the glorious decapitation strike on their leadership. We would finish the war at a stroke, and preserve much valued infrastructure and knowledge.
Sound like Mackie was going to say something.
Oh, sorry.
My understanding was that the weather system, based on the temperature gradients between the two different hemispheres, was so severe that the weather system did, in fact, extend pretty much all the way down to the very bottom. And was it speak of shielded walls?
Magnus shakes his head. No. Your adjutant is correct, Legion Master.
Fair enough. This is our character, but were there shield walls? Were there shield bubbles and stuff? Like
so it was that there's a preponderance of tornadoes, and they are essentially I forget what the term would be, but weathermancers. So they're able to wick in tornadoes from the outskirts fairly easily. And
I see. Okay.
That causes issues. So it's not that they've not tried to land on the surface, it's that they've not been able to land on the surface and have that work without getting tornado sniped.
So the Telekine, what was your plan, Benji? Telekines come in
Basically,
and disrupt them.
The storms are going to not be able to knock drop pods off course because of the strong winds. However, my suggestion is we deploy an extremely high angle, extremely low angle in at such speed that we can punch through the weather, knockoff course of the weather. We would then need to use the Telekines on board the drop pods to slow us down enough that we aren't all instantly killed on impact.
So I guess Macuiltotec raises the point that I suspect that, well, you said a drop pod assault, so many hundreds of drop pods. So, in which case, are we sure that they can't not? Are we confident in the fact they will not be able to tornado snipe all of us? To hit us with their weathermancy on the way down?
Well, that
sounds like they're very powerful psykers.
Well, again, that's the idea of even if they do hit us with the weathermancy, the speed is such that we will punch through it.
I'm seeing something like where they then form a giant supercell and it's like a mega tornado above us. So instead of having multiple little ones snipe us, they attack us with an absolute.
Again, the idea is that this is a distraction attack, much like we utilised on whatever the planet was where we found the Moxie. This is a deployment in force where we're forcing the panic of going, oh god, they've made it through the defences, quickly, throw psykers at it, quickly pull away from the things, and then with their attention truly taken away, the two primarchs can lead the strike through the wall.
That makes sense.
Nova Beryllia, for the record.
That's the Moxie planet.
That sounds like a fairly comprehensive plan to me. What do you think, Lord Magnus?
Magnus scratches idly at his chin. I'd be interested to hear what my brother thinks. He turns towards your father Primarch, whose eyes have not quite glazed over, but who looks decidedly uninterested in the strategic layer. I think we should smash them hard.
I'm proud of our father.
Same. I'm so glad we have the big barbarian, let's go smash! And just like really good, like kind-hearted Primarch.
Goddamn.
Are you saying we have in fact got Big Chungus as our Primarch?
He's saying you have a himbo Primarch.
He's beautiful. I love him so much.
Magnus looks a little confused for an instant. So you agree with the plan? Your Primarch looks slowly towards Coayah. Yes. An awkward silence settles gently over the room.
You know, Primarch energy, that's a real awkward silence. It's silence that can punch
supernaturally awkward energy, yes.
Lord Magnus as well. I would ask, so far with our Legion we have a preponderance of Terminator equipment, but I am well aware that other Legions have been deployed with differing loadouts for their standard gear. Would you be one of those Legions who has been issued with teleport hose?
Magnus holds up a hand. What do you mean by a preponderance of Terminator gear?
I can answer this question. So, one of the specialist cadres we have in our Legion are the Havoc units, or our Havoc squads. And as well as a number of our tactical cadre, and our... What's the professional name for our murder cadre?
The murder?
I think
the murder.
Calling them the murder.
Okay, and for the internal grimace, the murder. So left with the murder.
Well, a unit of crows is grouped into a murder, a sign of wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Magnus.
definitely.
Poor Magnus. We are not that type of Legion.
I had not been told you were intellectuals. Forgive me, that was rude of me. Please continue.
more than happy to explain the ins and outs of our cadres later, if you would like to go into detail. But yes, early in our campaigning, we discovered the weaponry we were using was much more effective with heavier armor. Many of our Havoc, who are demolition specialists and heavy weapons experts, utilize Terminator armor almost exclusively, as well as a number of tactical squad.
Magnus stops you again.
Telling me you've equipped almost your entire heavy weapons division with Terminator armor?
Yes, my lord. Our heavy weapons division, in fact, has been so successful. We have started programs to mount all sorts of weaponry. We have to our suits. These are quite specialist and powerful systems we're going. We're quite versatile, even though Terminators are not known for their versatility in many ways.
How on earth have you got these kind of numbers? What mad SGC construct did you give the Mechanicum?
I actually genuinely do not remember how we managed to get it. Was it we were super early and we were good friends with the Mechanicum at that point? I honestly do not remember.
I think we basically picked it as our Legion speciality that
I
we
think
had
we just did,
shitloads
didn't
of
we?
Terminator armor, but we had
Yeah, that
vehicles.
was mechanics, but
Yeah, so
not
I'll
flavor.
take it.
You have a good answer for this question.
What's the answer?
Agent Secret.
Legion Secret, is that it? Or?
The Moxie as well, that was an STC.
We got the Moxie, yeah? No, I'm completely blanking here because I know we started it with
You did
tactical.
recover an STC for the Mechanicum, even if it's stretching the truth a little bit.
Okay, then yes, we did recover an STC for the Mechanicum.
But not a Lehman Russ.
No, we did recover an STC.
For some
wait.
reason, at the name Lehman Russ, Magnus shivers.
What did we actually call the tank in the end? I'm sorry to interrupt.
The Moxie.
It is
the
the
Moxie.
Moxie.
It is the
that's-
Moxie.
Its formal name is the Coatlmox, which was immediately shortened to the Moxie by the Imperial Army.
It was going to be grumble.
I got Moxie, see?
So close to being the Mackie.
It wasn't the Mackie, no. It was the fact it was going to be the because you didn't choose the name between me and Coatlmox. It was Coatlmox and some dude I can't remember his name, and it was going to be. And it was going to be like he was the main battle tank. There was a name there. It was a whole pun name, and you just fucking swiped it out from underneath me.
Oh, shock, horror, the pun name got vetoed. Who could possibly have...
Everyone liked it.
So, you have been asked a question.
What was the question again?
How?
How did we have this with Terminator armor?
Okay. I thought I answered already. Yes, we have. We did recover an STC for the Mechanicum. They were most grateful, and we had a certain tactical requirement, and they met and exceeded our expectations with their delivery.
That's possibly the vaguest answer I've heard today. But keep your secrets, Mystery Master.
I do like that name. Maybe I'll have that on my door.
Would it be Legion Master, Mystery Master, or
Legion Mystery Master? Or the Mystery Legion Master. Something like that, I think. That as another... Is it Epula?
Magnus shakes his head.
Regardless of how you've got them, they're damned convenient.
They are.
Sort of vacillating between Sean Connery and a terrible Churchill impression.
Yeah, I keep half expecting you to go... Like
I can't.
I'm quite enjoying it. I have settled.
Of course!
I'm liking it.
I could be voicing him like,
No matter how you got them, they're quite convenient.
and you'd be enjoying it, young Nicholas.
No, I am quite enjoying this one.
I like the voice.
Patronising face.
It's
Patronising passions. Anywho, yes, no, I'm sorry, I can't do the jowls. I don't think I can do the jowls. No, shake my headphones off.
yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Maybe if I slave it to an audio key, I'll just play it.
We're getting distracted. So,
He turns to Coayah.
I think I see the merits of your plan. I'll have to talk it over with my telekines. But, there's something to be said for a two-pronged attack. If nothing else, it would certainly distract Mortarion. Perhaps we could even prevent him from finding out about the decapitation strike.
Are you still interested in, Lord, my lord, are you still interested in including Mortarion's forces in the strike down onto the planet?
He shakes his head. I don't think Mortarion's forces would fight particularly well with mine. I'm not sure we can stop them, but we can finish the fight before they get there. Not to mention the fact that I would prefer my own men to get access to the libraries of the Hag World before Mortarion's burning masses do.
I'm also in agreement. The loss of knowledge is a terrible thing.
Well, I'm rather surprised to meet you. I'd been told that the second were a rather crude, bloodthirsty lot, and so far my impression has been that you're an absolute abode of civilization.
We are, my lord, in a phrase, complicated.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Mackie nods in agreement. Just silent agreement.
Magnus's hand reflexively twitches ever so slightly towards his empty eye socket. The rest of the talk passes with no small amount of discussion of tactical and strategic considerations. How many telekines can likely be mustered? How many drop pods? Which units will be best? And what level of mixture of Thousand Suns and Quarreler forces will be the most sensible?
I want to be in a drop pod. Shoot me at the tornado.
We'll strap you to the outside of one. Get a real good time.
Your Primarch has comparatively little input on the proceedings. He's occasionally interested, but mostly content to let the two of you do the planning, speaking actively to Magnus more or less the entire time.
Wait, the two of us? Oh, you mean what,
Me
Mackie?
and you.
Me and you, okay.
We're basically acting as his representatives.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought it was there just like, never mind, yeah.
His night and day, if you will.
Before the meeting's done, I'm gonna request with Magnus, Coayah is more than welcome to join, as is the Primarch, but it's about the question of psykers in the Legion. And we seem to have an astonishingly small number of them. In fact, none, as far as we're aware, which is a statistical improbability.
I see. Are you asking this in character?
Yes. This will happen after all the planning's done.
Yeah,
like,
that's fine. We can, planning finished, meetings winding up.
Yeah. My lord, I would like to request, a matter of your, something about, I'd like to request, your consideration on a subject that I imagine you probably hold very dear and high knowledge of. It seems that, we've been hearing more and more reports as the campaigns have worn on that many of our brothers in other legions are showing gifts that they did not have at the beginning. Things and that new recruits are coming with them are coming into these legions with these gifts somewhat already developed. But our legion that we have not had a resupply for quite some time does, in terms of new recruits, it does not seem like we have any who have been. I don't want to use the word blessed because it feels like that's probably just laying it on a bit thick. But
Also religious.
Yeah, no religious.
Yeah. So it'd be like no one seems to have been gifted the abilities in our legion. I was wondering if maybe you had some idea of in your knowledge that you seem to have, some idea in your vast libraries about this particular phenomena that you may be able to explain this, or perhaps better ways of finding psykers in our legion. Those who are perhaps not aware of their powers.
Magnus takes a seat in a single gargantuan chair after the long planning session is done.
It's something that I suppose I could investigate within your legion. At the same time, the demands of the Great Crusade are, in a word, great. It would take some time for me to scan through your legion for likely recruits. We're unlikely to find them just laying around the command deck.
I agree.
My name isn't Magnus.
As much as well, my lord Magnus. It appears that your own legion takes after you in the prescription and ability of psychic might. Might it be some equally likely gene quirk of our own
He smiles at you, Coayah.
lineage that merely, perhaps...
Excellent point, and what I was actually just about to come to. My gene seed in my sons has a tendency to awaken even the most latent or dormant of psychic talent. Or perhaps my brother's seed in the same suppresses it. Something that I would not describe as a gift, I'm afraid, but which certainly spares you from the level of political turmoil that mine and my own suffer.
I can imagine. Well, I can't, but you have my sympathies.
He nods.
It is a struggle we must work our way through. But I have conviction that in the end, reason will triumph, and humanity will embrace its psychic potential. All of us,
He nods to your father.
as far as we are able to.
So I'm going to make a suggestion, and I'm going to ask, but I want to ask Nick out of character first, because this may have a potential to completely show you, and well, it wouldn't show you to everyone, but it might, my suggestion might end up getting your psychically knowledge, like, we'll become aware of it in the command squad, or I will, at least, as will Magnus, and a few others. Like, I know it's like, technically, like, it's not, I'm not trying to metagame here, because it's something, it literally just occurred to me that I could ask this, but I also feel bad, I don't want to take away your agency.
No, it's fine. I was slowly working up to it anyway.
Then
so it feels like if this is happening like organically in game, then it's perfectly fine by me.
Okay, as long as you feel like I'm not taking your agency away, I'm stepping on your toes because you wanted to do it in your own way.
No, I didn't have a specific way I wanted to do it. I just wanted to. I personally was trying to do it in a way that didn't get my character super killed or ousted.
Fair.
But if you want to do it like organically like this, I am more than happy.
Lord Magnus, I have a suggestion. Your telekines, when they're in the drop pods, would they have a way of scanning the battle brothers in their drop pods? Our battle brothers, the ones who are in the mixed squads of both our Legion and yours, and see if they can just detect. I'm not asking them to awaken or anything like that, but to detect and report back findings of any latent psychic power in any of the people inside them.
Well, it depends somewhat, I'm afraid. There is a second possibility as you're not considering.
What's that, my lord?
Well, it's entirely possible that there are psykers within your legion, and that they are hiding themselves, either by suppressing their abilities or by ensuring that they are practiced in secret.
Have there already been reports of, like, these secret practices causing issues where, obviously demons aren't necessarily invading on because they're entering some guy's mind, but are there things like people blowing themselves up, causing blood to run out of walls, and shit like that?
that whole thing where we used the giant cannon and it started shooting itself, and then there was goo all over the place? Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that exactly.
That was the Space Wolf, so that was unrelated, I'm sure.
Often considers to be it gets very rational explanations of like overly rationalistic explanations of whatever happened.
Okay. I mean, so I'm going to go into this then with the knowledge that probably not a good idea to practice this in secret. It's something that should be honed by the Legion itself.
Generally, technically, the Imperium does have an anti-secret policy. It also keeps a shit ton of secrets, but notionally, at the very least, it doesn't like the idea of secret societies.
Yeah. In which case, then I'm going to. So that's okay. Back in character.
Slightly undermined by the second in charge of the Imperium, literally being the Grand Master of like 6 assassins guilds. But
yeah. Isn't there like a whole thing with the Illuminati and
that is really, really old lore. It is questionable the degree to which it's canon.
Okay.
Nothing else, because they're only called the Illuminati because it's a recognizable name.
Yeah.
They are more or less a familial support group, even
You're
in the
telling me they're not
actually is.
16th century Bavarian secret royalists / whatever the fuck else they were?
Hypothetically, some of them might be, but generally, no, they wouldn't.
Anyway, so, back in character, I'm going to say, well, I can't understand why anyone would want to hide the powers. Our legion is...
Prejudice? Fear? Some of them might have manifested abilities as early back as the fighting on Terra. And if that was the case, that's a time when we didn't really know what would be happening to psykers in the Astartes. It's entirely possible that they've been suppressing them for so long, or otherwise keeping themselves secret, that they just don't know quite how to tell people.
I think I'm going to start having
He
pro...
holds up a hand.
And I'm afraid that if that's the case, it might be slightly difficult. Talents can be sniffed out, but a psycho who doesn't want to be found, especially if they're not actively practicing, why, that's a positively difficult task.
Thank you for your counsel, Lord.
Magnus
I forgot
nods.
his name.
No, Lord Magnus.
Lord Magnus. Thank you for your counsel, Lord Magnus. It's given me a lot to think about.
He nods.
I enjoy discussing these weighty problems.
Let me know if you think the Telekines would be of use here, and I would love to see that arranged. Otherwise, I'll figure something else out.
He
But you've
shrugs.
given me a lot to think about.
I will surely have them look. All I'm saying is I can't guarantee results.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, understood. There we go. And it said understand to him. Just understand, then leave. No, understood. And I'm done.
Magnus escorts you back to the hangar. What have the other two been up to?
I got a neat new toy.
Yeah,
Nick was having a deep personal conversation with Araman about psyker, not psyker, I think.
I was being interrogated about being a psyker.
Do either of you wish to carry on your conversations or activities?
Um,
I'm good to skip ahead, personally.
I think I'm good. I've had the conversation. We've traded contact info. I can message him when I need to.
Shortly before Ackerman takes you past the witch forges, I shouldn't call them witch forges, should I? Past the psychic forges in order to pick up
Witch. He's a witch.
Coatlmox.
We already said the witches are going to help us forge a path down through the Empyrean. Empyrean, rather.
Slip of the tongue. He also had to multiple times stray away from religious imagery when he was speaking.
As did we all.
Anywho, yes, shortly before then, Ahriman stops you and offers you a small token, Nazeem.
Oh?
It's a tiny, carved triangle made of bone. This is something precious to me. If you wish to talk about this in future, I would ask that you hold on to this and meditate on the message you wish to send. I can't promise that I'll be able to pick it up, but this is a powerful psychic focus, and with luck, provided you are not too much of the galaxy away, your thoughts should eventually be communicated to me as dreams. I would hope that I can respond in the same fashion.
Do you have are we still in private?
Yes.
I do. We can refer to each other as cousins, don't we? That was it.
Generally, yes.
Yes. I do actually have a question, cousin.
He nods.
Dreams in relation to our powers.
He nods again.
Are they mere communication, or is there more to it? Connection of some sort?
Communications, psychic backdraft. Simply a bad time. The echoes of the waking mind. They can be anything, everything, and absolutely nothing. It's up to you to divine if you'll permit the word, meaning from your sleeping thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd like to thank you for our conversation. I haven't been able to speak to anyone about this. And I accept that you see these Telekines as allies, but I would like again to depart a word of mere, not hesitancy or distrust, but just wariness. I've encountered not entirely similar beings, but entity that does not seem quite from...
Tutelaries, for the record, I think you're thinking of.
Tutelaries, sorry, yes.
Just like telekinetic, psychic characters.
Thank you, sorry, thank you very much, yes.
Carry on.
But it was not the most helpful or pleasant experience. So these ones may be, but not necessarily all. This is a large galaxy and universe after all. You don't know everything.
Herman nods sympathetically. As my primarch teaches us, all entities of the great ocean can, with time, effort, and sufficient study, be mastered, and, in some instances, befriended. To be clear, he would like a token from you so he can try and dream back at you.
Oof. What have I got?
Give him the bowl of goo. Give him
the bowl of goo.
It needs to be something dear to you.
Dear to me.
Oh, you've been there 40 odd years.
I mean, they say that hate is just the shadow of love anyway, right?
I feel like I haven't really brought anything with me. I've literally left everything back on the ship. I'm not going to give him my psi focus.
Would be a good thing to give him.
Didn't he just give you a psi focus though?
Yeah.
Like, I know
psi focuses only work for the person that they are psycho focus for.
Oh, it sounded like you said it was a powerful psycho focus as well as a dream communication.
Yeah, he gave you a psi focus that is dear to him, essentially.
Yes, it worked for him.
So it allows you to...
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
Probably worth it. You can probably get another psi focus later, right?
The thing, the one I've got is the best quality.
You have a good quality one.
Is it? I'm trying to find out.
I'm only going by what you wrote in your sheet.
Oh, you're right. Good quality, yeah, plus 15. But still, his one is just... I can't use his one, can I?
Not without breaking it. Well,
you can't use it as a psychic focus for your, for example, offensive powers. However, you can use it as a special telecommunications network thing with him.
Yeah.
It's a special psychic focus.
Exactly. I guess you could override it and use it as a psychic focus for yourself, but then it would stop working for the telecommunications thing.
Brain think. What do I have that's precious to me?
It sounds like your psi focus.
You have your broken force sword. You can give him that.
Not on him, he doesn't.
No.
You can always just give him one later. We'll just tell him that we'll have one shipped over to you. My Amazon heresy freight. That'd be great.
Don't you have some loot that you've taken? Aren't you a bit like Ollie, where you've just got loot and stuff?
I think he took one thing from Venus. But he's not.
Yeah, there you go. You could give him the tooth of the thing you took from Venus.
That was the plasma pistol I thought was the... Oh, right, that sort of thing he took there.
Yeah, you've got that lithogolem tooth.
Yeah, he said he did, but I'm not actually seeing it on his sheet anyway.
I will have my old psi focus.
He definitely did
Still.
keep the... He definitely
I
did
have
keep the tooth.
Your old
from
psi
the
focus definitely isn't going to work. You need to give something that is, like, precious to you, or it's not going to be... Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, right? The old psi focus, by definition, is something you've thrown away.
Case on this because it feels like we're spending an awful lot of time trying to figure out a psi focus.
So it's do you want telecommunications or not, basically, Nicholas?
Not at the cost of my psi focus, no.
Feel
Well,
like
that sounds
you
pretty neat.
probably are going to regret that down the line, but okay, we will pace.
I mean, we can just send one over to him. It's not like it's still. Nick just needs to go back to his apartment on the ship. His fancy apartment.
I do have a lot of things in my room.
He's going to forget. So, with that, Ackerman, I guess, takes his token back, as you politely refuse it. And the two of you go and pick up Coatlmox from his, what he considers to be a playpen, and which was, in effect, kind of a playpen.
I'll randomly drop some of my knowledge about Blackstone Paragon on the way back.
Sorry, no, okay, I will. I'll give him my Psyfocus. Seems, it's only a +5, above normal.
I mean, you wrote +15 on your sheet, to be fair.
Yeah, but he means if he has a normal
+10
side,
normal,
+10.
+15, +5 is over normal.
Yeah, if you replace it in the future.
I can always make another Psyfocus.
I mean, yes, you definitely can make another Psyfocus. I am loath to take this, as we did just move past this.
My apologies.
Yeah, call me odds or evens, Nicholas.
Odds, no evens.
Odds.
Oh no.
No takesy backsies. No best Astartes psyker tutelage for you.
Oh, you're really rubbing that wound with salt there, aren't you?
Well, he had like 8 minutes to make a decision, and
No, I'm not disagreeing.
Pace.
I assume we're all on the ship then, all on the Firebird?
Yes, so,
I do briefly tell Harriman about Blackstone. Might be useful in this feat.
Exactly so. He seems curious, sort of wondering if...
has anti-marine properties. It seems to dispel warp storms or less of them, and I'm also going to tell him the system where lots of it should be.
He seems very curious. I need to start keeping a note of plot hooks somewhere.
Alright, your players will keep a hang of the plot hooks.
No, they will not. I'm sure Ackerman will at no point ever recklessly endanger a shit ton of stuff just in order to get one specific magical thing he wants.
I mean, I think it's an excellent idea. Take all the Blackstone. It's not like it was doing anything.
I'll also tell him how if they take too much, he'll probably rip their ship into pieces. He doesn't like warp travel.
Why are you helping them so much?
I'm letting them know where they can find anti-warp stuff.
Yeah, so they'll destroy it because it's like anti-them.
I'm hoping they might, need
You're
it
hoping
one
they might
day
be
and
responsible.
think,
You live in hope.
Do you know how far away the Horus Heresy is right now?
So,
like, was it 30, 40 years? You look back on this moment and be like, fuck.
A lot longer than that, but yeah, looking back on this moment and going, fuck, is kind of the Horus Heresy in a nutshell. So, all four of you reunite back at the Firebird. Seb trundling along behind you, father in tow, looking disinterested and vaguely tired. Magnus bids you a fond farewell, and Ackerman nods curtly. Oh god damn it, Ollie, that's a terrible pun. His name was Carl anyway, for the record, not Charlemagne. That's the bloody French name.
It also means car.
Yeah, but his name was Carl.
No, I know, but
I mean, didn't actually know that was.
Yeah, he's Charles the Great. Carl
yeah,
the Great.
Charlie Magni.
Yeah.
We just call him Charlemagne
Good
because
old
we're pronouncing it wrong.
Magnery Charlery. So, you get a curt nod from Ackerman, who's a little bit saddened at your caution and fear of the Great Ocean. And a warm goodbye from Magnus. And then the Firebird is off, back to the Price of Defiance. To think.
As soon as we're out into space, I'll be gossiping about how fucking weird their Legion was. They are an odd lot, those. weird writings everywhere on the walls. They spoke of having these invisible tutors that teach knowledge about the great ocean.
Father
Rather contrast to our lot.
Father nods. There was a strange smell to the place. There was something tugging at my senses the entire time we were there.
Oh no, he's getting wolfy.
I do think, though, that it is strange. Nearly every legion thus far has at least some psychic potential in them. There are psykers in most legions, as far as I can tell. It feels odd to me that we've just not had any so far.
You'd think there were any within the Death Guard, brother. It didn't seem that way, did it?
Hey, brother, are you suggesting you want psykers in our legion?
I think that many legions are using them effectively. They seem to be...
Sorry.
The legions where I'm aware of that have them seem to be using them effectively from the little I've heard, and I don't see any reason why you shouldn't have them.
I believe our armaments are more than enough.
Your Primarch scoffs gently. Whilst I'm okay fighting beside them, I think I would rather if my gene seed simply suppressed the psychic talent of any of our potential initiates. It does not feel like something I want.
You heard the boss, no wizards.
Gathering
We are a strictly melee-class legion.
A small part of Nazeem died that day.
Gathering about our legion.
My father, I think it's somewhat inevitable. I suspect we probably have some in our ranks as we speak.
He knows! Run!
Out the airlock, quick! Bowls of goo everywhere. I'm very disappointed.
Your Primarch nods. Perhaps. But as I say, I'd rather not know of them. He nods towards Coatlmox. I feel like what we can't crush with our fists, we'll crush with our chainswords. What we can't hack apart, we'll shoot. And everything else will grind beneath the tread of our tacks.
Well said, Father.
Yes, well said, my lord. But I do have one concern, is that if they do appear and they suppress, I suspect, just like anyone does, if you suppress something long enough, you bottle it up, and that pressure builds and builds and explodes. Maybe not now. Maybe not in 30 years' time, but we could have a legion that we would never know how many of our numbers were bottling up their instincts.
Our Legion Master, we've been at war for how many years now? And none of us have exploded particularly unexpectedly yet.
Mackie lets out a small chuckle. But the psykers, the reports have only been coming in for, the last 20, 30 years?
There have been 2 instances.
Primarch shakes his head again. If they're keeping themselves secret, then they're doing a damned good job of it. He seems rather freer in this conversation, where Coayah is not currently participating.
I was literally about to start talking.
No, you please feel free, go ahead.
My lord, have you decided which you will be with? The Drop Pod Assault or Lord Magnus's, for lack of a better term, express delivery?
Lord Magnus specifically requested our Primarch, requested Father.
Lord Magnus can request what he likes. If our Lord does not wish to go, then he does not have to go.
But that is also true.
Can I just request a clarification on the emphasis as to which you clearly... I gather which I think you liked more there, but which were you clearly putting more...
I really don't mind. I was just wondering what you wanted to do.
Yeah, he's sort of hyper-analysing you here.
He's trying to figure out if Coyah's pro or anti.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm saying he should probably go with Magnus, because that will probably be, a better education for him. Also means he gets in my way less.
Yeah, no, he's trying to figure out which one Coayah wants, not which one he should probably do.
I'm putting the emphasis on the express delivery. I want to say webway assault, because that's basically what he is, but he's not using a webway, so...
I mean,
so it's worse. So it's markedly worse.
It is markedly worse, but equally I say...
Yeah, that sounds like
I say
madness.
webway assault only because that's the game rule that this is very distinct. It's not a teleport strike, so
yeah, no, it's he's going. Yeah, I'll be the Gallifeal. It'll be fine.
I don't want to throw out the question, but I was really wondering if he's even ever fucking done this before. If he's just like, yes, I'm a wizard, we'll warp through the warp walls.
I don't think you'd like the answer to that question.
Should be personally leading a squad of our finest warriors with Lord Minimus.
I'd like to be with the drop pods myself.
Granted.
Your Primarch shakes his head. I'm not sure I like the idea of our forces travelling through the Empyrean.
Horses?
Forces.
We should only be taking...
Horses? I thought you said horses for a second there.
No, the cavalry shall come... No.
The officers cavalry shall ride fast and true through the Empyrean.
Why do these octopuses have distinctly more tentacles than they had when we took them into the warp?
They got human mouths now rather than beaks, but
no.
I'm fine with this.
That boy is just so terrifying.
Each sucker is a new mouth. My lord, we shall be. I shall be leading a small group through, not the entirety of our forces. No, most of them should be going in the drop pods.
Who will run the Legion if something goes wrong?
I'm sure I'll manage, my lord.
I would really prefer if you would stay with the drop pods, Legion Master.
Oh, of course.
No, he's speaking to the Legion Master at that.
Right. I thought he was like, please don't come with me. Stay away from me.
Perhaps the Onyx Marshal could be seconded to the Thousand Suns.
I actually haven't decided who the Onyx Marshal is yet, but it is going to be Coayah. Yeah, it was Coayah.
I thought you'd already appointed Coayah.
It was never explicitly said. I think we all just kind of assumed, but yes, it would be Coayah. At one point, I was considering Nick.
I straight up thought that you had kept the title for yourself, so I gave myself a new title of Knight Champion.
Yeah, I think you did keep the title for yourself. Yeah, you hadn't declared anyway. Sorry, okay, I will revise. I will revise, because either you still have the title, or you've not given it away, and kind of fair enough in either scenario. So I would prefer if the second captain would take the secondment assignment. Coatlmox and I can ride in the drop pod. He gestures at the Forge Master. Nazeem and presumably Kuzco can drop pod down and secure the what of the libraries we can. And Mackie, you can either coordinate or lead a pod of tactical cadre yourself.
I think I'd be more comfortable leading Havoc, but I'd lead a cadre of Havoc, a small force of Havoc and tactical mixed together.
As long as you're in the pod contingent. I think it's safer, and I'm not sure the Legion could afford to lose you at the moment. He tries to say no offense, but sort of peters out a little bit as he can't quite meet Coyah's eyes.
I can understand where you're coming from, Father. I will take the pods.
Coayah, if you really wish to try and veto the warp walk, I guess now would be your time.
I mean, I don't think I can. I think Magnus is very clued into the idea.
And I think he's expecting at least a small component of our Legion to go with on the walk.
Yeah, he's already going to be tweaked a little bit that his brother isn't wanting to go with him. Let's see, in Carl's thing. If possible, considering it's a deployment, I prefer to take a temp and leave Kuzco on the ship researching how to clone and mind control Kaiju.
What was your temp last time? The guy from Fenris.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I had it written down somewhere.
Was he from Fenris?
No. He was the guy that Carl was playing when we went down to Fenris.
Yeah, mad lad.
The guy who threw that phosphex bomb down the troll's throat.
Didn't he die?
No.
I thought he was still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, let me have a look into things. Okay, I've got Brother Coscatl.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
That's the one. Yep.
There's also a Brother Zolo.
Nope.
Brother Axachitl.
Nope. It is definitely Coscatl.
Okay. You sure you don't want to be Squiley Nicholas?
Well, now that you mention it...
Squiley Nicholas, protege for Mackie, member of Havoc Squad. Presumably latent psyker.
Oh, no, that's a tempting proposition.
Psyker immediately unveils Psykers in the Legion.
Yeah. Like, haha, bitches! And then go explode myself.
Mackie was right, it explodes.
White bits of Nick off us. I see. I told you.
Anyway.
So, yes, what would you like, Carl?
I'll take Col's cattle, please.
Cos cattle it is. So,
Is
Cos
it
cattle.
Cos or Pots?
Uh,
I can't remember how it's spelled.
I can snip it to you. Snip it to you, I can just copy paste it even. Brother Cos cattle, a destroyer cadre, and a fan of the leadership. Oh yeah, you were like endlessly trying to ingratiate yourself with people.
Yeah, annoyingly so.
It's the annoying fan as channeled through war crimes. Okay. So, returning to the ship then, it sounds like Kuzco, what's it, when your primarch calls you up for like, yes, we need you to come down and secure things, what are you going to do? What is your response there?
I'm taking care of priority Medicaid processes. What's the term? Tasks. I'm doing what I was ordered to by the Legion Master. Totally important. Sorry.
Benji?
I mean, he very distinctly outranks the Legion Master.
He
and
definitely...
Oh, well, no.
override
So,
him in all things without any reason.
Yes, but, like, that's if you're talking a bog standard everyday Primarch, right? But, like, we have different relationships. Like, he fears you. Like, he, like, uses, Nazeem as, like, emotional support. And, like, everyone... But me, I'm just his fucking doctor, right? Like, I don't give two shits. He's just a patient, right? Like, I don't see anything. So, like, there's a different sort of relationship there again, right?
You have more or less the same relationship that Fabius Bile has with Fulgrim, and I'm beginning to think this is more and more not a coincidence.
I haven't even, like, tried for anything, but it's just happened.
Yeah, likely story. Ollie, you're muted. Or at least you're not making sounds, but you're speaking on webcam.
No, I think he's gone.
Yeah, no, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, sometimes my microphone will just stop sending. It's something to do with my computer being fucked up and old now.
Fair.
It's like 9 years old.
Callum has that sometimes where his processor fucks up his sound when he's playing something too processing heavy. He'll just robot randomly for entire seconds at a time, but you can still kind of hear it. All PCs. So, yeah, what are we doing then, folks? Because it sounds like Kuzco's basically just ignoring the order. And yeah,
you know what? Actually, on the ride back, I can say I've got Kuzco on a priority Medicaid charge. What's the word I'm looking for?
Oh, assignment was the word I was looking for earlier.
I've got Kuzco on an important medical assignment. So
Aren't
far,
you also master of recruits? You could just use that excuse.
Yeah, I mean, who are we? Oh, I got to supervise them, right? Yeah, supervise them.
Basically, yeah.
You're
a very administrative role.
I know you said that you've not really had much in the way of resupply in a while, Ollie, but for the record, you're like basically continuously reinforced, just very ad hoc.
For me, it was less like we have a planet that we resupply from one singular place. We pick up as we go along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're presumably getting you're presumably getting Terran recruits, but probably not anywhere near the rate of casualties. As you are not a low casualty legion. So yeah, as you say, you're mostly picking up as you go along. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
I mean, is there any chance we can select some of the younger, more impressive human soldiers as well? I know
we presumably do along the way. They're probably vetted when they join the Legion.
Because we have this. I forget the name of the Solian Salatiers, right? There must be like you can make space marines from older people, right? They don't have to be.
It is commensurately more expensive and risky, and past a certain point, you're not necessarily making much of a space marine. A lot of the time, you're just giving them like best quality orgs, and that is kind of good enough.
Fundamentally, it's basically if you're over the age of sort of about 30 to 35, it's almost like don't bother. You probably won't survive the process. Equally, like, again, it's not just a physical thing if someone can become a Space Marine. There's a lot of other things. You have to be genetically, you have to be tested for genetic compatibility with the process. They look at your your mental state, your physical state. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. Basically, yeah, we would pick up soldiers we can actually put through the process, but equally, you can't just grab every armyman and go, we will turn you into... There's an economy of scale here.
I do feel like in most lore, between 12 and 15 is portrayed as the ideal time for implants. With the only major exception to that I can think of being the fucking Space Wolves, as ever, where they're always taking people way older.
So
Scars take them older as well, but it's a pointless discussion.
I'm a cool pace on my own question, but that was a good answer. Thank you. That was good. Do I have a master of propaganda or communications?
No.
You're a Legion master. You can appoint one.
Yeah, I'm going to appoint
I guess
one.
technically...
I'll volunteer.
Nope.
The iterators for that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, no, you do, actually. Sorry, that's true. You have an iterator, who is...
Sounds like something I'd love to be involved with.
I believe Zarbo Glenn Harris.
So I'm actually not going to do anything with it right now, but I've got some ideas. But I'm also going to pull aside Nazeem as we exit the shuttle and the pleasantries are dealt with and stuff like that.
It's
brother.
not a shuttle, but sure, carry on.
Yes, brother?
I was walking around the ship and seeing the sheer number of psykers they had present there on Magnus's Legion. It wasn't
The Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns, yeah. Just seeing the sheer number of psykers on one ship, do you not think it's somewhat odd that we have none? I don't quite know what to think of it. And it seems most odd that we've just never really... Like, I know we've had the discussion, that there are discussions about gene potency and potentially what we can and can't have, just related based on our on our father's genes, but it does seem odd that there's so much silence on that front. You're our chief psychologist. I'm going to say psychologist. Psychologist, was it? I forget what
Psychologian.
Psychologian. Yeah. Psychologian. You're our chief psychologian. Have you ever noticed anything? Anyone?
Do I just straight up lie? 'Cause I've never lied about it, is the thing. We skirted around. This is like a direct question.
He's not asking you if you're a psyker, though. He was asking, like, what your thoughts were about it as the general person who has a good idea of, like, the mental well-being of the crew, as well as the, like, most widely read member of the command staff by far and away, excluding Kuzco's professional qualifications. He's not going, I think you're a psyker. He's going, you are naturally the person most qualified in really every way to investigate and talk about this.
Yes. Exactly.
If given cause, I could definitely investigate it. I feel that it's not something that would be easily detectable just by mere psychological investigation. I'm sure there are tells towards it, but in terms of actually narrowing it down.
My suspicion is there are, as you said, tells, and people acting strange, people who can't explain certain things that have happened to them, or perhaps there are stories somewhere further in the Legion. People have these strange things that have happened to them, especially in the heat of battle. I'd just like you to keep an ear out, my good man.
I could do that, brother.
Thank you, brother. I will just be coming in for regular checkups on this. I don't expect any official reporting, especially since our primarch father seems somewhat against the idea. But yes, I still think it's better to be knowledgeable and prepared than ignorant and blindsided. Whatever may happen.
Brother, I shall keep an ear out.
Okay. So, in Grand Legion tradition, following on from the last Legion Master doing the exact same thing, we have put the person who is in fact orchestrating a thing in charge of discovering whether anyone is secretly doing that thing.
Well, we don't know in character. So
no,
yeah,
that's very true. This is officially a characterized part of the Legion at this point.
There's also, so we also do have the telekines who are going to try and figure out if there's anyone who's a latent psyker as well. So we'll be getting some information that way, but I'm keeping that information close to my chest right now.
I'm worried what this means for the heresy. When the heresy comes round, like, hey, you go find out who's a traitor, and it'll be the head of the fucking traitors that we ask.
I mean, that's kind of what happened, wasn't it?
Yes. Several times, actually.
Yeah.
That happened directly in our legion, though. Oh, dear Lord.
Coayah's face at the Drop Site Massacre.
It's gonna drop real fast.
Assuming we're at the Drop Site Massacre.
We'll see. So, do we have any other plans we want to do aboard the ship before we go on to the, assault sequence? Such as, to what degree do you want to work with 1,000 Suns? I guess we know vaguely who's going where. What are your plans if you get into an altercation with the Death Guard? How do you intend to approach psychic lore that the 1,000 Suns might want that you might be a bit uncomfortable with them taking, etc., etc., etc.?
So, from my point of view, like as a Legion Master and someone who's fought other Space Marines, especially ones who seem kind of just a bit into the whole death thing, like killing and murdering, especially because we have a third of our company who's into that as well. Like, did the Death Guard strike me? Not strike me. The Death Guard just strike me as quite a kill-happy lot.
Yes. They're literally called the Death Guard.
Yeah,
They walk around drinking poison, and their leader looks like the Grim Reaper and wields a massive fuck-off scythe. Like, if there's a singular legion with a death motif, it's probably them.
Oh, the Death Guard, exactly. Who got the best look at their armaments over there?
Look at the Watson.
Indisputably Coatlmox.
Okay, so Coatlmox,
Sorry?
who you got the most look at the Death Guard armaments over there?
I want a sweet dagger off a guy.
Yeah. So theoretically, if we were to get attacked,
We are not authorized, and neither are they, to attack other Space Marines.
Oh, I know, but they might do anyway because they're kill happy, and Mortarion might not be very happy that we're working with Magnus. I say might not be. He's not going to be. He made us order an attack, and in the confusion of battle, oh no, a couple of stray bolter rounds.
In which case it would be 2v1, because we decide, presumably the 1,000 Suns would come to our defense if we were openly attacked by another primarch.
Sure. I'm just saying, it's always better to be prepared. If there's anything in the armor we know that would be particularly effective against more custom Death Guard stuff, it'd be good to know.
Sorry, you were meaning got a better look at the armory of the Death Guard. Right, now I follow you. I thought you meant the 1,000 Suns for some reason. I was thinking,
No.
You spent loads of time in the armory. Yeah, I think that would
Standard, but it's just mostly phosphex, isn't it?
Sorry?
The special stuff. They're special, so it's mostly phosphex and weird gas.
Yeah, so if it's mostly phosphex, then I don't know if there is any particular in-universe defense against it, but anything that may mitigate it somewhat.
Phosphex, traditionally a bolt round to the roof of one's mouth is the best defense against burning to death.
There. We're kind of fucked on that front then.
It's evil space napalm.
Yes. Yeah, it's like nanite controlled, right?
It's the Grey Goose scenario, but it's on fire.
Yeah.
Forever, and you can't put it out.
I'm aware, yeah. I remember reading about that. Yeah, okay, so in terms of preparedness then, you can't really defend against Phosphex, so fuck that, I suppose. About psykery stuff that I don't want the psykers to get their hands on, if it looks particularly evil, maybe we should have some words first.
We are caught between a situation where prescribed knowledge may be uncovered, and we have a legion who will determine all knowledge is prescribed, regardless of the context or application. Clearly what we should do is form up committees and deploy consul, basically to confiscate all knowledge and see to it that it is thoroughly discussed and thoroughly vetted by appropriate authorities. We cannot trust either of the other legions to do it properly, for they have inherent biases.
And I'd like to point out I've been collecting brothers to help with knowledge sharing and making these sorts of decisions within the Librarian already.
How many do you have?
Ewan, how many have I collected so far? I don't have an exact number, I don't think.
Some dozens.
Am I aware of these people?
Yeah, they're
It's the Psychologian in general.
So, okay, these are okay. Okay, so then, yeah, Nick, your Psychologian Marines are to accompany, along with supporting squads, other members of the Thousand Suns.
Just so you're aware that Nazeem, at this point, you have been clued into the Telekine plan, and the general psycheminess of the Thousand Suns is very open to you. So you're aware you would basically be immediately rumbled doing that.
Oh, no. The Telekine plan, as in, like, people scanning for it, that's just me and Coayah. And
Telekines. Was I muted when this was going on? Because I was shouting, Telekines do not scan. They are telekinetic. They are not telepath. They're different things.
He was, to be fair, asking for a senescience check, and also in character doesn't necessarily appreciate that.
No, I know, but...
Yeah, like, it's senescience, right? So...
It is still senescience. Senescience doesn't check for being a psycho, though. Senescience checks for demons and have you used psychic powers.
Yeah.
And other phenomena. That said, they would turn up potentially latent psychics, specifically around seeing like the brightness of their soul. So yeah, from Nazeem's point of view, you do not want your Psychologian Marines fighting alongside Thousand Suns if you want them and yourself to not be discovered.
I see. Okay. But it's
not relevant for you, Ollie. Yeah, it's just a Nazeem concern.
Yeah, I know.
He will be immediately rumbled here, basically, if he goes with what is being asked of him.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there's no reason why I suppose you couldn't just say they're your Psychologians, and because there's going to be so many hundreds of us going down, I guess I wouldn't necessarily notice.
Well, they wouldn't be able to do the.
Yeah, I don't have enough. There aren't enough.
They would be able to do the task as I stipulated, because as I said, they would be handed over to official Imperial authority to determine whether or not such knowledge was prescribed. I'm not asking you to perform psykery bullshit checks on them.
Yeah, no.
Not knowing you're a psyker and going, you should probably just look into the knowledge.
You guys are asking for different things, to be fair.
Yes.
You were saying, Benji, send the consoles down, they will grab stuff, and then hand that back to the Psychologian, whose Marines will then process it. Ollie was saying, just send in the Psychologian and they'll process it on site.
Which
I
think
understood it.
Yeah, pretty much. It makes more sense, I think. And, I mean, I was also going to suggest send down the consoles and the Psychologian, have them work together. They would be squads that would naturally complement each other in terms of data recovery and processing of information. And that would also boost the numbers of the squad. So we could have specialist recovery squads supported by Tactical and Havoc. And I don't know how much murder we're going to send down, but probably not much. I mean, that'd be good for like the full frontal assault, I suppose, in any case. But yeah, I'm thinking Consul and Psychologian mixed squads supported by Tactical and Thousand Suns. And then I kind of figure out how I'm going to tell Magnus that.
That's not a massive assault. You've only got a few dozen Psychologian Marines. And
yeah,
like
I don't see why we're sending in the library keepers to like just grab it. We'll just grab it once the assault is done and process it afterwards. We don't have to grab it in situ.
They're still like competent Marines.
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, but like we have other people to act as meat shields and do the dying.
To devil's advocate it. It is what the murder is for, to be fair. But to devil's advocate it for what Ollie's arguing for, there is something to be said for being able to process things on site, having experts that can go like, oh yes, this looks sus, being there in the field.
That's what the consul is for.
The consuls are not necessarily experts in lore, is the thing. Well, in lore, LORE. They're experts in lore, LAW. So I am not in favour or against either plan. And young Nicholas, you should probably have an opinion on which one or which other thing you want to do or how you would intend to get out of this.
Yeah, because there are only, I don't know if I know how much there is like experts in psychic phenomena, but there are only people who are knowledgeable on it by the sounds of it.
They're not even experts per se. They might be read compared to other people.
Yeah.
Psychic phenomena exist in the Imperial archives aboard many ships, but they are generally dismissed as fanciful.
I think the best thing is to basically just say, we're going to confiscate the knowledge and we're going to discuss how we're going to process it without the other two getting their hands on it.
Yeah, I am. My suggestion would be Benji's in character. is going with Benji's suggestion of just get it and bring it back, and then the psychologian can process it once it's on board, because it'll be, I think, faster and better handled that way, because there aren't that many of them. So therefore, having them all together, going through all of the information together, is probably going to be better for us and for what you want to gather from it.
So, Brother Coayah, how do you suspect then that we can sneak this information outside from underneath Magnus's presumably somewhat watchful eyes? He seemed rather intent on grabbing this information. Sorry. He seemed somewhat intent on obtaining this, and
I suspect that he won't be. He won't be against the suggestion, especially once we say we will liaise with him on the processing of the knowledge. I suspect the main point is to keep Mortarion and his sons away from the damn thing, the damn stuff, before they can just immediately destroy it.
then you shall have the task of talking to Lord Magnus and arranging that, and making sure he is aware that this is something we'd like to see, to ensure knowledge does not go awry.
I'll send an official message to him, certainly.
No,
Given that we're not including him in the assault, by the time he gets down there, it should be academic.
Magnus, you're including him in the assault.
No, Mortarion.
Oh,
the main point is to basically make it so we're going to grab the stuff, secure it, placate Magnus by going, look, we're not going to destroy this, we're just looking after it, we're going to see if anything's prescribed, and then we're going to hand it over to relevant authorities. We're just trying to keep Mortarion and his burn-crazy lunatics away from it.
I can't figure out if this is an in-character thing I'm thinking, or if this is meta or not meta.
Alright, let's hear it.
But I have a strong suspicion that whatever Magnus gets his hands on, he's going to keep, and it'll always be, either it'll be, yes, of course it's not prescribed, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's kind of what I'm thinking, so it doesn't matter if, and what I'm thinking is, things may get tricky if we have a group of Thousand Sons down there who are there like, hey, we're going to take this prescribed knowledge, and then don't worry about it, and then we're like, well, no, don't worry, we're the more rational out of the 3 legions in orbit right now. Don't worry, we'll take it and we'll give it back to you later, maybe once we've checked. Don't worry about it. And I can see Magnus not being very happy about that, and that causing some issues with the squads as well, with the Thousand Sons squads working with our squad.
What I would say to that in character.
So I can't work out if that's meta or not.
I don't think that's
the way to look at it is this. Mortarion is going to be far more likely to get extremely angry about Magnus and his sons having hold of the knowledge and the things contained within this place than he is about us having hold of it.
Yes.
With Magnus, he knows there is no chance of it ever being destroyed, but he might at least back off long enough for us to get the knowledge out first before he starts getting truly angry.
This is why I want you to have a direct communique with him. I want a conversation with you talking to him about this, or at least to his second. Because
we're not telling him about the assault, though. Like, by the time the assault is over, he should find out about it because we're coming back up.
But, out of character, he was saying that I know this is, I'm going to call paste myself in a second, but it doesn't matter if he's doing it. His Thousand Sun squads who are accompanying us on the drop have also been given the explicit command.
You are talking about
Mortarion is not Magnus!
Magnus is his Thousand Sons, his squads who are going to be fighting with us, who are dropping with us, have also been told to go collect knowledge. That's literally what he said in the meeting. So they are also
talking for the last 4 minutes about Mortarion, who is different.
Sorry,
let's strike it. I'm going to start again. Right. My suggestion is we put squads down there to secure the knowledge. We tell Magnus that this is literally to defend it from the Death Guard, which it largely is. We don't tell Mortarion shit. He gets nothing.
Fine. I don't care. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I don't care about Mortarion.
Let's just go with that.
But the point I'm trying to get across is Magnus is then going to be like, yeah, but it's alright, we got this. We got the information though. That's the point I'm trying to get. Magnus's Thousand Sun squads were just going to try and recover this shit anyway. That's how I see it going. Because he very explicitly said in the meeting they want to recover that stuff. And there's going to become a point when we're down there and it's going to be like, Magnus' squads. Oh well, the Thousand Suns is going to be there. Like, we're taking this, and we're going to be like, no, we're taking this, and I think that's going to cause issues. That's what I'm
Somehow
saying.
I suspect we'll get to it first.
There's
The
quite a
Thousand
lot of
Suns-
libraries.
So again,
I said there's quite a lot of libraries. That said, I will now call pace on this because the two of you are like trying to be constructive, but I also feel like talking past each other, so it's probably worth. If there's problems, there's going to be problems because we're not solving them at this stage.
yeah, okay.
So, meanwhilst unconcerned with really any of this, Kuzco, what are we doing back aboard the ship?
Was unexpected. I'm focusing on using the current cloning technology to see if we can adapt it to kaiju, while at the same time, like, finding genetic curses that control things like growth to effectively miniaturize them somewhat.
Now, do remind me, where did you get the cloning tech from?
Like, oh no, I mean, as in, like, I'm sure that, like, that's just like a part of general knowledge because you like clone limbs and stuff.
The Empyrean's biotech is pretty good in, like, the Segmentum Solar, not necessarily out here. We generally don't clone limbs, we just...
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying that I would have the knowledge of it.
Maybe?
Yeah, you know what, let's do a roll for it. Let's see how good your clone tech is. I will take Medicaid over Intelligence, please, and this seems like a somewhat difficult subject. Let's give it a -20.
I hate it. Like, I've got dark mode, and whenever I miniaturize my bloody sheet, it just blends in.
Yeah, me too. Is your demeanor afraid of painters?
Oh, don't even, like...
Yep.
Long time ago, on a planet whose name I have since forgotten, there was a diplomatic occasion. It all came down, like, all of it. Quite the event.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I sat down on a bench and broke it.
you know that remembrance is not dead.
Yeah.
We get recalled to
Never got a
Terra, though,
chance.
so we can't...
They all got recalled to terror, yeah.
Yeah.
Until... Checks watch. Fucking, like, mini-campaign number 18 or something, when I get to send them back out again.
They're going to be old.
Yep.
Explicit instructions of no war crimes.
I'm gonna spend a fate point to get +10, bringing it down to a net -10, I believe that was.
Yep.
And I'm gonna fate reroll that.
D&D.
-20 now.
Oh god, yeah, that was like 80 or under.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, like, okay.
More successes. After several initial tragic lab deaths with critically out of control growth hormone octopus monsters, you eventually settle down to, on your 6 degrees of success, reroll down from 1 degree of success, 1 degree of failure rather. You eventually settle down to begin to pattern some more stable octopine clones. They're small, weak things for the time being, ill-given to training and equal parts entirely too dumb and entirely too smart. You might compare to the goblins of your Terran fairy tales. They are also decidedly unstable and short-lived, but you can see in them many of the aspects of the larger kaiju. This is a project that over time you think could go somewhere. Okay, start a tracker on your sheet somewhere, please, Carl.
Yep.
You can roll this once per chronicle. Goddammit, once per campaign. We'll say you need 20 net degrees of success in order to succeed. Failure only removes 1, but success is success. And this will be to get a prototype rather than like full industry, but, you know, a prototype leads to industry.
You can have a secret research race.
I'd like to see them try and crawl the crawlers once we have octopus kaiju.
I
Then we
think
can transfer the minds of our space marines into tiny, short-lived octopus.
It's coming full circle. Put those inside Terminator armor.
Oh god.
We can make Daleks.
You really can.
We 100% are not allowed to put we are not allowed to put xenoforms inside Terminator armor.
You're also not allowed to transfer your consciousness into octopuses, for the
I was
record.
like, allowed.
Or really make
gets
the
thrown around a lot
octopuses.
in the Imperium.
I do
no
think-
one cares it's allowed.
I do think Kuzco's thing is easier than yours, right? You have a higher threshold, I gave you, if I remember correctly.
I need 25.
Sorry, I missed that. Is someone trying to put their mind into a xenoform?
No,
No,
yeah,
no,
I
I'm
was
trying
just
to clone
joking about the
Primarchs.
future.
Yeah.
Just Ewan said put their mind into. It's just they're like,
Yeah, I think
What?
you might have missed step 2 or step 3
This
described
was-
in that process there.
Carl's
So-
got an extended role to do his clone research, and I remembered I've got an extended role to do my consciousness memory transfer research.
Oh yeah,
So
and I've got
if we
the
fuse
item.
them together, we can do stupid things.
Yeah. Because I was going to bring that element of this project to you, because I've still got the mind control devices we got from Xeno.
Yeah, I think I have one of those lying around as well, actually.
look, I'm just going to go join Mortarion. It's the level of prescribed is just too damn high.
Yeah, because don't forget, I've got tissue samples, like, from 2 Primarchs or 3.
Oh boy, let's clone some Primarch.
You can't just go putting Primarch DNA into Xenos octopuses and expect
We
that to work
shouldn't.
out well.
That wasn't the
So,
plan,
just-
but
it's
now...
I know it's not technically the phrase yet in the Imperium, but I am looking at some serious fucking heresy right here.
I am looking at some serious fucking prescribed shit.
It doesn't quite have the same
No, it's not as punchy.
ring.
If Kuzco comes to the Legion Master and doesn't not present this idea, the Legion Master is going to carefully ignore the fact that this exists.
Good to know. It's Big 10-4.
Presents the Primarch. Primarch signs off. I do like octopuses.
Coayah has a small mini stroke.
No,
Right.
no one tell Coayah.
Is it okay if, like, does anyone mind if I get the Primarch to fight them?
I think he somewhat regularly beats up the kaiju in the.
Oh,
in the
okay.
Daleks.
Give the kaiju a break then. Right, sorry, I've kind of derailed this a bit.
No. This is.
Everyone else got like half an hour to 45 minutes apiece, other than I guess Creed actually.
I've done a little bit.
Okay, so then, in that case, from my point of view, we've got about 30 minutes. We can do, I think, either the drop pod assault or the warp assault, maybe both.
The warp assault comes after the drop pod assault because obviously the drop pod assault is the distraction for the warp assault.
Okay.
So we'll organise with Mac. Who's the most drop pods? I think we do.
Yeah, it's probably you.
So our
The
ship.
Thousand Suns are not super large, they're not particularly well equipped, honestly, overall. Your Legion is, I think, probably by far larger than either of the other two forces here. Like, even Mortarion isn't exactly travelling with all the Death Guard, he's just travelling with a large contingent of Death Guard, whereas you have most of the
Second Legion.
the Second Legion. Yeah, the Quarrelers are generally here. It's not quite the like mega fleet you used to have shortly after Moribund, when like almost all of the Quarrelers were with you. But it's still most of them. We've been portraying it somewhere between 60 and 80% of the entire Legion in one massive fleet.
Yeah.
Roaming around smashing shit. Which you probably get yelled at from Terra for, but it does
Don't give a
work.
fuck.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we need to-
I feel like the answer to that is very frequently Moxie. It does silence a lot of critique when you can go like, yeah, but sometimes you just need to Legion spam.
Well, we're doing a mixed deployment as well. They can have some psykers in our pods slowing us down.
Yeah.
So there's probably going to be some Thousand Suns, I would imagine, supporting those telekines. Just there'd be squads there.
They are the telecone. But they're-
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying there'll be others. Sorry, I misspoke then.
Well, it's
There'll
up
be
to
other-
you, honestly. They're your drop pods, so it depends how much room you want to make.
Well,
So,
there's
I
me and
mean-
a Primarch in one, and I'm in Terminator armor, so however many spare can fit.
You need enough for one telekine as well.
Per pod. How many telekines do you have?
But you'd probably maybe want to take more than one.
They have
I mean,
enough telekines.
Yeah, but
have
we don't know
enough telekines.
how many telekines are needed to slow the drop pod down. Because we are going to come in hot in this fucking assault.
Yeah, I was also thinking 2 to a pod might be a bad shout.
Well, let's... how many pods? We need to work backwards. And how many pods were you hoping for?
How many can fit in each pod in terms of normal armor and then in terms of Termi armor?
Traditionally, I believe 5 Terminators or 10 normal Marines. So Terminators more or less halve your size.
Yes. Okay. How many pods? Okay, so I'm thinking. I want to send down most. Oh, I want to send down a lot of Havoc, and I want to send down a lot of Tactical, and maybe the rest are just. I don't know. Yeah, Murder are good. How good does everyone else think Murder would be good for this situation?
Murder are probably quite good because remember we're not actually worried about casualties. We're mostly worried about infrastructure. We don't want that destroyed.
Yeah, okay, in which case then I'm going to send down, I think, maybe half the pods of Murder.
Yeah, if anything, the Havoc Company are the worst situation here because the thing they do is blow up buildings.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, actually, yeah. Definitely.
Whereas the Murder sure will kill witches, but they don't generally fuck with buildings too bad.
Yeah, okay, I'm thinking, 2/3 Murder, another,
Oh, sorry. Someone asked a question about teleport homers an hour or more ago.
Yeah, me.
I completely blanked on that. Yes, they have teleport homers. They don't have that many teleport homers.
Do we have a teleportarian? Or any teleport homers, actually?
You probably have teleport homers and maybe a teleportarian. Well, on the new big ship, we'll say you definitely have a teleportarian.
Yeah.
That's it. They're hit and miss.
Yeah, I've heard as much. Okay, so I'm thinking then 60-ish% tactical. Maybe. How many? Do we know what's the total number of drop pods we have? I know it's a bit of a shot in the dark. I'm assuming it's somewhere in the mid-hundreds.
Yeah, I would say probably in the mid-hundreds, which is a lot.
Okay, so maybe.
Oh, plus Nicholas's Charybdis.
Oh yeah.
I still love that we've got that deployment cannon that we've never used.
Yeah, for yeeting Terminators into the webway.
Yes, you used them on Moribund.
Oh, did we? Oh,
yeah, I went in with the Murder. We went danger close to the heart of the Xenos.
Ah, yes, that's right.
After we blew a hole in the side of it with a rocket. Anyway.
Yeah, we all helped. So
No, that wasn't you making a snide comment. That was just it was just a good
I will call pace. So what are our ratios here then, Ollie? You've got a few hundred drop pods.
I'm thinking, 300 drop pods because we don't want to lose them all. We say 200 of those contain the Murder. 100 and the last 150 contain Tactical, and the last 50 contain Havoc. So 300. 150. Sorry. So 200. We're doing 300 drop pods total out of the 500 we seem to have. So out of those 300, we'll say 200 is Murder. 50. We'll say 60 is Tactical, and 40 is Havoc. Actually, 70-30. 70-30 Tactical.
Also, I'm just making a note.
So that puts us 5 times 200.
About 3,000 Astarte. Well, less than if you're wanting to do Terminator.
Yeah, so it's what's that? 200 times 5, so that's 1,000 Murder. Here I'm going to be in power armor. They don't do Terminator Osiris, and where they barely do armor, from what I remember.
The Murder do armor. The Murder do Terminator. Even they just. In fact, the Murder don't do Terminator. That the only reason Havoc do Termi more is because you put yourself in the administrative post and kept nicking it for them, which is, to be fair, how the Legion got it to begin with. But the Murder can and do Terminator armor. It is significantly better suited for close combat fighting, which is what it's meant for, than it is for heavy weapons platforming, which is what it's supposed to operate in an auxiliary form for. If anything, they probably complain about not getting it more. But the Legion Master's part of Havoc, so.
When we were on the goo ship, I had some Termi Murder with me.
Exactly.
Help me burst the doors.
Yeah. No, by default, Terminator armor is generally for close quarters fighting.
Well, they can take. I'm not.
Don't you dare say that you're not obstructing access to Terminator armor. You absolutely
I was gonna
hardcore
say that.
prioritize it for Havoc
I
Company.
wasn't going to say that. I wouldn't do that.
But I do want to point out that we flavoured the murder as not necessarily just constant berserkers 100 of the time, 100% of the time. Like
They're almost orcish in their delight in a good fight. Is how I would say we've been conceptualizing them. So yeah, they definitely wear armor, and
That's fine. I'm happy to have my misconceptions changed.
it's been a few weeks, like, and the default barbarian assumption is like, fucking Conan, and that's not really how we've portrayed them. They've almost been more like Black Templar-esque, but with skins.
So I'm going to have Havoc come down with their Termi squads, but those are going to be the heavy weapon, the non-graviton cannons this time. It'll be things like Volkite weaponry, other sort of like personnel damaging, not building damaging, because we have all those extra weaponry for the for our Termis, and then for tactical, whatever they want.
Just having a speedy look. Charybdis. Transport capacity of 20 models. Cool. So, in that case, the best possible drop pod for the command crew would probably be Nazeem's much maligned Charybdis that he never takes out, even though it loves him.
That is not true. I take it out plenty.
You don't join in assaults all that often, so...
At the last one I didn't know, but the ones before that I have.
I remember you being in 2.
I've been in a fair few.
It's cool in any case. Nick's coming with, and we'll have... I guess actually because the bigger one will need 3 or 4 telekines, actually.
That's very true. Yeah. So 4 telekines, Father, yourself, and Nazeem.
Yes. And Coayah. You could always go into...
Coayah has been requested by your Primarch to go on the Warp Walk. And you need to send someone there anyway.
Coayah and then Coatlmox,
partially because Coayah filled your Primarch with a sudden vision of Coayah as Legion Master again.
Yeah. Coatlmox, Cread, where do you want to go? Do you want to go in the command pod drop? That's the command drop pod. Is there room for him?
But there should be by that reckoning.
Okay.
If you count the Primarch is equivalent to like 3 spaces and the 4 telkines, so that brings you up to 8.
Not in Termi.
Okay, so that's 10 plus. Oh yeah, do you want your Termi or your servo gear?
On my Termi. I want to bring Seb with the harness on him.
Are you sure you want to bring Seb into this?
He probably won't survive the drop pod.
He's not a combat guy.
Isn't he mostly tank now?
He is, but he's also not reinforced for like 2 different. Like you're deliberately firing the drop pods at speed so fast.
I straight up thought that Creed had been having him reinforced, so he was like a Myrmidon at this point.
He's we've been picturing him as more like Golden Crushinator.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I presume he's just been having them reinforced with everything he could possibly get his hands on.
He's not a battle servitor.
Regarding Termi armor, they have guns in like the tops of them, right? Built in?
No.
I've got to find my loadout very quickly.
Terminators,
they wrist gun, or is it a...
They usually have a combi bolter on in the right hand.
Combi bolter and power weapon.
And then,
standard loadout at this point.
Generally a power sword or a power fist in the left. Chain fist also available.
I always deploy, though, with, I think, 2 heavy weapons, 1 in each hand.
Okay. I'll have with my Omni Cyrax on my combi bolter. Can I fit the other fire pistol and random dagger I got off the other guy on me as well?
Yeah, you've got plenty of... The dagger will bring you luck.
Will it?
He can. Combi bolter isn't, like, strapped to the arm in the same way heavy weapons are. Yeah, exactly. They usually come with straps as well, so you can always...
Don't forget as well, we've got specialist connections that allow pretty much any heavy weapon we have access to, for the most part. to attach to Termi armor.
Yeah, but then you can't put it down.
Yeah.
I got myself a combi bolter specifically once and never used it, so I'm bringing it.
And if he wants to do things like use his knife or
Yeah, I get it.
like fiddle with forbidden law things. Though I guess actually the Omnissiah axe also isn't slave to anything, so that would also be a regular glove.
Yeah.
You can find Creed reading a book in his Terminator armor, delicately flipping the pages.
It's a good mental image.
Oh, what's that you're reading, Coatlmox?
Coatlmox isn't here anymore.
Oh boy, here I go, founding the Malaise again. Pulls out the sword.
Right? Sit down, tiny children, and sit on my giant lap and let me read you a book.
My name is Nicholas.
Quick question.
Yeah, sorry.
Can I get Termi armor for Kuzco? Is that okay, Legion Master?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to start putting some hard limits on this Terminator armor because you're
To be fair,
I'm not off in the armory if I
we are basically the praetorate of a Space Marine Legion. If anyone can get her hands on Terminator,
You are. Coscatl isn't.
He's the he's the prime Medicae of a Space Marine.
No.
He hung out with us at a battle.
Kuzco is the chief apothecary.
Sorry, yeah, Coscatl.
Coscatl isn't even a sergeant rank and is in the Destroyer Company.
Oh, wait, he is? I didn't realize he's in the Destroyer Company. And
Yeah.
he's not even Oh, yeah, I don't...
No take backsies!
It's fine. We fought
There were
with him
no
before, he was
take-backsies.
great.
I'd have Custodies friends right now.
Okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Give me an opposed weapon skill test, Carl. Let's see if you can win some in a bout.
I'm presuming this is as Kuzco, so
Yep.
it's... What's it? Base 40, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, was it a weapon skill or a ballistic skill?
Weapon skill.
Oh yeah, then it was
Should be a
40,
training
so I
skill,
chose 60.
Destroyer squad. Sometimes they have one battered suit of Terminator armor they pass between each other.
Roll up
Be
to
ironic
the
one day.
arena fighting.
This is
Chance your luck.
Oh,
Coscatl challenging Squirely Nicholas. And Squirely Nicholas beats him into the ground.
yeah!
Yeah, that's 1 doff to 1 dos.
Could you please put it in the... we need to put it in some Legion lore somewhere that the Destroyer squad does have one Termi armor that they have to battle each other for.
No, it's not that they
Wiley
have
Nicholas
one.
isn't in.
Yeah, Squirely Nicholas is your
Havoc.
equerry.
I mean, I'm happy that he won.
I'm just happy for it to be a tradition that they occasionally duel over who gets to use it.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But they don't have one. This was a duel between a member of Destroyer and a member of Havoc.
Oh,
Well, they have one assigned to them now, right?
yeah. In Destroyer Squad, sorry, I thought you were implying that my Squirrely Nicholas was in Destroyer Squad, which I thought was weird, but I didn't want to challenge you on that.
He's your equerry. No, this was Coscatl trying to get hold of a Terminator armor for the drop.
Coscatl, who is in Destroyer Squad themselves, have one suit of armor, but unfortunately Coscatl can't wear it right now because someone else is wearing it, and he just got beaten to a pulp.
Right.
There is one set of Termi armor inside Destroyer Squad. They fight each other for.
Cardray for the record. But... Alright, fine. By popular acclaim.
I guess we're ready to launch then.
Fair. The fleet begins to take position over Oriatrith, the Hag World. The alternately baking and freezing surface laying out beneath you. As you move closer and prepare to assault, you begin to receive a series of furious hails from Mortarion's ship.
Oops.
Oh, with the drop pods that are going down, sorry, I meant to imply that there also are Thousand Suns mixed in those pods as well, right? Like, it's not just our Legion going down, it's Thousand Suns coming in.
Not by the numbers you gave me, other than the Telekides.
Oh, okay. Sorry, then that's my bad. Add another 100 drop pods of fucking Thousand Suns then.
don't know if they are going to be able to commit that much.
Oh, well, however many they can commit. It sounded like they wanted to commit like a small force.
Yeah, 100 drop pods would be at this point. So by the time of the heresy, at their strongest point, that would be a 10th of their legion.
Oh, okay.
At this point, it might be significantly more than that.
Okay, then whatever Magnus is willing to spare.
Honestly, looking at the numbers, I think he's willing to spare you his telekines, but you've also got probably most of his telekines.
Fair enough. Fair. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the name is depressingly literal at times. Like, repeatedly.
His Gene Seed has the highest rejection rates of any legion.
Its sperm just don't have the tails for it.
It's not how Gene Seed works.
I know, but
even slightly.
When you said earlier that his seed that he was putting in his sons wasn't very strong, it did make me giggle anyway. I've got the mind of a 3-year-old.
To be fair, in the first and second edition of Warhammer 40k, Gene Seed was literally called Gene Sperm, so yeah, that was a thing.
That's amazing.
Which I totally knew about, and that's exactly what I was referencing.
I've always pictured it as like a fleshy apricot core.
Basically, yeah. Anyway, pace. Let's get the drop pods going. You've still got to roll for this shit. This wasn't a foolproof plan.
It's not a foolproof plan, that's very true. How are we dealing with the Mortarion sees you doing a thing situation?
In my heart, I wanted to tell them to fuck off, but we can't tell them to fuck off, so I don't know.
Were they going to shoot us out of the air? Probably.
No, because then he would literally have declared war on the Imperium, and he would be prescribed and erased.
Well, then it sounds like we can tell him to fuck off.
What? No, we can't. We are not allowed to tell. Our Primarch could tell him to fuck off.
I'll really send him a quick message. Oh, Astropath must have lost the message. We're starting the assault. Don't worry, we'll take care of all that secret knowledge.
I mean, Coayah, you're more than welcome to respond to the furious comms.
The response of "you're welcome to join us in the assault" would probably just piss him off more, Cread. Mostly because his drop pods wouldn't have telekines in it to slow them down.
Was that sent to Cread?
I imagine.
Yeah, I just sent it. Yeah.
He's gonna be so fucking bad.
I'm going to forward the messages that are coming through to Coayah. On account of this being Coyah's plan, and tell him to answer it how he sees fit.
The messages dramatically cut off after a certain point, followed by an acknowledgement from the bridge that the reply has already been sent.
Lovely. Lovely, jubbly.
I'm sure that'll take care of that.
Oh, yeah, obviously from your point of view, because Coayah's not in the drop pod, so I guess you just think Coayah jumped the gun, not realizing that Coatlmox has replied on Coyah's behalf. Seconds later, confirmation comes through from the bridge that Mortarion's fleet is moving into position.
I'm also not on the bridge.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
you'd
be with Magnus.
So I wouldn't be responding at all.
I mean,
so someone else would be.
They can still be forwarded to you. You absolutely have to respond.
Yeah, I think Coayah probably... So Coayah, absolutely, the messages are getting forward to you. I strongly suspect Coayah is not going to want to reply from within the foreshadow.
It seems awfully, what's the word? It's foreshadowy to do that.
Sorry, forgot to tell you, Morty Boo. We're assaulting. Be right back. Love you lots. It's not going to go down well.
Unlike our drop pods, which hopefully will.
Don't forget to soften the landing, smiley face.
# feeling blessed. Feeling rewarded for my perseverance.
Secular nature. My very secular, unwitchy nature.
# lads on tour.
Unironically, drawing back from saying religious-themed things even slightly at the last moment it is a really dumb bit to me, and I kind of love it.
Look, I will send a priority message out from the foreshadow to Mortarion, basically just informing him if we are taking frontal assault. He should not join us in this because we have plans to get through the barrier, which we are not able to get onto his ships in order to implement. If he sends his men in after us, they will probably die. I'm just telling him straight up. I'm not saying we're going to kill him.
He's going to guess what you mean. It does not take a genius. And with that, Magnus bids you to isolate yourself. He needs complete calm, silence, and separation from the world for his ritual. Meanwhile, let's see, how many drop pods did we commit? We committed 300 drop pods plus the Charybdis. I'm going to ask for, what do they call it? 4 separate roles, 1 for the command crew, and then 1 for 3 separate mixed waves of Marines to see how they go. We'll say they're attacking the 3 major urban centres.
Cool.
Who wants to roll for who?
Shall I roll for the command squad? Being as I'm Legion Commander.
That makes sense to me.
I'll roll any other dice. I love dice.
Okay, so we'll give wave 1 to Coatlmox. Give wave 2 to Coscatl, who's also in the Charybdis for
some reason.
I'm guessing he almost certainly just snuck in at the last moment when people were doing checks.
Hi, I'm Coscatl. I'm helping.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just going to say, in my mind, last time he was in the field, he was really buddying up to Nazeem and got quite close to him. So I was just imagining, the whole, when people are just walking down, you just pull up next to someone and just walk with them. It's like, oh, greetings, sir, how's it going? And just stroll on with them.
Yeah, I'm just imagining my view suddenly freezing, my field of focus narrowing and focusing on you whilst everything behind goes out of focus slightly, and suddenly I'm presented with a list of options I can talk to you about. I'm imagining the annoying fan thing from Morrowind, where that guy constantly comes up to you.
Oblivion, but fair.
Oblivion, yeah, the same difference.
Sorry, I didn't play.
We knew what it meant.
Yeah. Sorry, Oblivion.
Okay, so in that case, it sounds like Coscatl can roll for wave 2, and Nazeem himself can roll for wave 3.
Cool. What do you roll for?
What do we want to roll for this? I guess this is technically operate surface. Oh, you know what? Actually, Nazeem should roll for you guys, because it's his Charybdis.
It is.
Yeah,
that's very true.
That's fair.
In which case you can roll for wave 3, Ollie, because otherwise the Charybdis is going to get... I can't in good consciousness give you a bonus.
And I get it, I understand.
Fair. It's not my fault. They're fussy little pricks, basically. I said I was sorry, Ollie. Why are you always going to be so mean?
Ewan, it's fine, okay? God, stop beating yourself up. You're a wonderful GM, okay?
Okay, so in that case, Nicholas, first off, that will be operate surface. Do we have operate aeronautica?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's
would this one technically also come under operate void?
I mean, presumably the Charybdis does most of the operate for you.
That is true. It does have basically an AI.
And then I presume the drop pods are mostly...
Right? Yeah, okay, you know what? You can roll... let's see. So the Charybdis is going to be very good at this, but it's also being fired above its safety limits straight into a tornado with a trick landing at the end. We're going to call it for the Charybdis 50 or under. The best case scenario.
Oh dear.
I'm a Nick. Is he rolling intelligence for this? Or is he just a D? It's just a flat
D100. Flat D100 because vehicle stats.
Yeah.
I believe in you, Nicholas. Get a hundo.
I feel we really shouldn't listen to my silly plans.
Yeah, you were very confident with how you went.
You did kind of swag in there with, what if we ram-joined into the tornado stream? And people just went, yeah, he seems to think he's got the right idea.
It's this is very much a case of Dark Scrolls planning. As we see, this is why don't we fire the oil at the door? You've got fate.
That's not a character roll, so I can't re-roll that, can I?
Cannot. 96.
Primarch's going to crash land.
Well,
I've got
4 degrees of failure.
Nick, we just died.
Total party wipe. And the only 2 people still alive are me and Carl, who doesn't want to be Legion Master. My plan is now complete.
You are still going on a Magnus Express trip through the warp itself. You might want to die in a high-speed Charybdis crash.
I like how this isn't Rocks Fall Everyone Dies. This is Drop Pod Falls. Everyone
Okay,
dies.
let's see how the waves fare. You've got a decent amount of waves. Got a pretty solid plan with the amount of telekines deployed in the ramjet situations, and we'll call it 40 or under for each of the waves. Wave number 1, Cread, let's go.
38. Nope.
Wave number 1 doing extremely well. Wave number 2. Wave number 2, Carl, let's go. Wave number 2 was shot with the Charybdis. Looks like it. So I'm seeing, 3 degrees of success on wave number 1, another 6 degrees of failure on wave number 2, 7 in fact. No, it is 6, yeah. Which means it must be 5 on your other one. I must have miscalculated. And finally, last but not least, it's all on you, Ollie.
2 degrees of failure, 63. But can I reroll these ones? Are these ones?
No, these are not character rolls.
Didn't think so. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like the first wave targeting a... One sec, I'm just going to draw some things on the map real quick.
Look at these cities that have always appeared here and always been here forever.
So pretty little cities. So, the first wave fired at a large conurbation in the north, on the eastern side of the vast, singular central sea of the Ribbon World. It goes alarmingly well. There's comparatively little tornado activity nearby, and only one drop pod is knocked from the sky, and that by what may well have been a fluke. Hundreds of Marines are disgorged on the planet's surface and begin laying waste to the city's population. Meanwhile, to the south, 2 degrees of failure was Ollie.
Yes.
On the western shore of the southern third of the great interior ocean, tornadoes surge towards the city, dancing around it and beginning to bat drop pods out of the sky, even fired as quickly as they are. Perhaps a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen are sent careening into the winds, slingshotted at incredible speeds into mountainsides and off into the desert of the sunny side, or the freezing cold tundra of the night side. In either instance, a far luckier fate, since you might actually at least be rescued from there.
Yeah. I'd say the Space Marine suits could probably survive the cold pretty well, right? For at least a little while.
Yeah, it depends how cold. Generally, yes, but also remember they're not a Space Marine suit under good conditions. They're a Space Marine suit getting slingshotted at far past terminal velocity for Space Marines. So the best hope is that the drop pods can slow down a bit so that the suits don't immediately crack and the Marines don't crumble. Most of these Marines are soup, even if they're not, like beer can against forehead crumpled. Not to mention the trajectory is getting messed up by the tornadoes, causing the telekines to have trouble slowing down fast enough, causing more than a few Marines to simply be soup upon impact with the ground. Perhaps 50-60% casualties from that wave. And finally, the assault on the capital itself, on the largest conurbation on the city's surface, an urban centre built atop a sprawling mountain range, somewhat far from the sea, at least by the standards of the world's habitable zones.
Wah, 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 wah.
Now, this one includes the Charybdis. And here, I think it's a good place to leave it for the week. As that's 20 minutes past. Next week, leaving you all in suspense, we will come in and see how the warp walk goes, and that'll determine exactly how bad the drop pod situation is here.
Because who's going to bet next week it's just us who arrive at that city, and that's it. All at half hit points.
Fine. I can't die with Magnus. So long as I'm close to him, I'll be fine, because Magnus is needed to fuck up and cause the heresy.
Could be someone else.
I mean, you've already said that about one primarch.
Lehman Russ was required to find the Lehman Russ.
Yeah, but you see, Zinch will keep him alive because Zinch needs the joke to be good.
Zinch can keep Magnus alive without keeping you alive.
I just have to stay close to him, just bear hugging Magnus.
Just like
I'm not letting go.
Around his shin. That might be metagaming. Okay, so reminders for the next session. Anyone got anything they want noted down?
Command Squad, brought to you by Heinz.
Bad landing.
And it was all the second in command's fault. I'm going to take away that Onyx Marshal.
I mean, you agreed to the plan. You even I said I would lead the thing, and I was going to give you the opportunity to go down. But no, you sent me with Magnus.
Kind of what happened there was...
Technically, it was the Primarch, and he did say that in response to realizing that if something went wrong with the Warp Walk, that he might be stuck with you. Not Magnus, sorry, Father. Anything else?
Octopus cloning's going well. I don't know if that needs necessarily a reminder. I guess whatever Mortarion was doing, he was getting in position as well.
Fair. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
Largely what this week entailed is covered by it going down.
We sent 2 responses to old Mortarion.
Yep, one sus, the other very sus. Do you not have anything coming up next week, Benji?
I mean, we're going on a wonderful trip, but, you know.
It's always good to put these things down.
I mean, it's probably going to be fine. It'll probably just be a very, very strange...
But remember, the reminders section is for stuff we might forget, which includes basically everything.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll probably just be a recreation of that fucking scene from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory with G. Wilder.
I don't know how calm the warp is going to be.
Unexposed. Magnus unconcerned with the horrors of the warp. Us exposed to the raw horrors of the warp.
Yeah, I should really listen to more of 1,000 Suns. Anything else? No? Cool. Okay. In that case, feedback, anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you'd like to see more of or less of next time.
Good.
Yeah, Nicholas?
I'll say, I'd like to see more people, I like it when people start talking about psykery things. It's good.
You just turned down the telepathic link to the greatest psyker the space.
And then I tried to bring it back, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I screwed this up." Yep. I wasn't expecting it. Completely broadside me. I wasn't expecting here's a helping hand. I was expecting to try comms
It's really
him.
nice at this point in time.
Araman's really nice at most points in time, but he also suffers from being very much his father's son, who in turn suffers from being very much his father's son. Araman is to Magnus what Magnus is to the Emperor.
He's very nice, apart from that one time he ripped a Space Wolf's soul out, and then stomped on it, and then kept his one eye as just a trinket, because fuck that guy.
I may see if I can have another meeting with him to try to exchange again, and just explain that I didn't have anything to properly kind of exchange at that point, because I know exactly what I'm going to give them. I'm going to give him my painting.
Your painting?
My painting.
Remember, he went through a painting phase where he was going to have paintings commissioned?
I had a painting commissioned.
Yes, but it was supposed to be the first in a series.
It was. It's still very dear to my heart.
We shall see.
I mean, I know we have an official portrait painter of the Legion, but
I think she's probably dead at this point. She wasn't really doing much for a while.
It was one of the people from Terra.
I presume we got her to train, more.
What?
No, she was just a Legion serf that was.
I'm sure it was one of the painters from Terra. I got them to.
They all
commission.
No, they fled.
Yeah, we have a portrait serf.
That was a while ago.
I straight up have it in my character sheet. It's one quality portrait serf.
I'm not saying that you didn't have one at one point. I'm saying that was 60 years ago.
We definitely went through a painting phase at some point. I think I wanted to get some commissions.
If you recall. It was during the Akareth Genocide, which was 21 years into the Great Crusade. We are currently at 80 years into the Great Crusade.
Was it me and Mackie or me and Coatlmox? And I think it was Mackie that was left behind, and it was me kind of waving down one of the ships coming in. I was like, there's someone's ship coming back for us, and we jumped on there, but it was just us out in space, basically looking out on the battlefield.
Yeah,
it was
you weren't in
Colonel.
space.
Colonel, what's his face?
You were in
The upper atmosphere of Barras.
exactly. So, I will also add on the feedback thing. I've appreciated everyone working with it. We had a lot of good pace calling this session, which was nice. And it's nice feeling like my eye is getting back in after a couple of months, like with a weirdy schedule due to summer. And feeling like we're starting to make a little bit of progress with things as well is also good. I was also really not expecting the ramjets proposal. I was going to ask you guys if you had a plan or plan ideas, and then thought, nah, it's probably putting them on the spot. I have set up this invincible tornado psychic shield thing. Maybe we should just let Magnus propose the surgical strike and we'll see how that goes and treat it as a character building moment. And then Benji swacks in with an idea that's like, oh, fair enough, that might work.
I was really worried we'd struggle to find a way to get it past Mortarion, but then we just sort of decided to ignore him and do it. And I was like, well,
yeah, because
right.
I was half expecting he was going to start like moving into position, not to shoot us out the sky or anything, but to like just put a ship where our ship needed to be.
Saying anything probably would have moved him.
Yeah, well, he did
absolutely. He started trying to talk to you initially, and then you just kind of like slid into position and started firing fairly quickly.
Let me just slide into your planet.
Slid into your planetums. No, I can't
your
make it
PMs? Slid into your
PMs, yeah.
No, that's so grisly. So, questions? Anything anyone was narratively unsure of in that session? Is everyone following the plot?
Yeah. Following. Seemed pretty... It's not a hard one to follow this time. Do you want to shoot yourselves into planet? Yes. Cool. Let's do that then.
Yeah, fair play.
I mean, there are some smaller things, I suppose, of like getting... Oh, actually, that would be a reminder. Nick is going to start investigating if there's any psykers in the Legion.
I mean, quotation marks. I already am. And I'm not going to tell you.
But the Telekines, they've also been scanning, and I don't know if they've been relaying information to Magnus Live. Presumably not, because he needs to quiet. But
no, definitely not. They're also not that level of. They're not telepaths.
I don't know what telepaths.
They're also busy.
They are.
Yes,
they've been holding
busy.
drop pods from going off course. It's not been going well.
Wasn't
They're so busy.
Before you say
obviously
this.
wouldn't do it when they were fucking firing downwards. You'd just scan people as they're walking in.
They can't
That's
scan. That's
so
not their
fucking
thing.
rude.
And also, it's difficult for me to find them. They're very good at hiding. They're not going to find anyone.
It was, as Ewan said, more than senescence rolls from these people just to detect sparks if something did flare at some point. Like,
So I'm just going to say, in terms of like
I've also recruited
the thousand sunned etiquette, what you're suggesting is so fucking rude.
yeah, Magnus didn't seem to care.
He did ask it as Legion Master, to be fair.
And Magnus seemed okay with the idea.
Still rude.
It is definitely rude, but I think Magnus thought you didn't appreciate the slight, so it was sort of a bless his cotton socks moment.
Yeah. I presume he did ask his Telekines to do it.
Yes, it's just not getting relayed anywhere. They're going onto a very psychically active world, which will also make it harder to read.
That's fine.
And they're doing a lot of shit at the moment, not to mention the preparations for that. And also, Magnus himself will be busy Geller fielding people.
It's fine. I'm just expect, like, you know, if there's any information, then there's some information when it's all tied up.
I think the Telekines are going to be in a bit of a state after this, honestly.
Well, yeah, they've had huge losses, and there weren't that many of them to get.
Yeah, you did just spike a sizable portion of the most elite telekinetic psychics in the Astartes into a planet.
I think you'll find Benji did that.
I think you'll find Benji suggested that. You gave the order.
Also, I'll point out, I'm with
The
Magnus.
Buck.
You're in literal command in the field.
The buck stops with the Legion Master. It happened on your watch. He's not even in charge of the military. He's in charge of the Second Grand Company.
Technically, I'm not even that. I didn't hold. I think I gave up my captaincy when I gave Ollie command of the military. I was just the Legion Master, so I was in overall, president over prime minister sort of thing. Which is why I gave myself the title of Knight Champion when I left, because I've got to do something.
I think we just gave you back your Second Grand Company.
I didn't know. I figured Ollie kept it.
I did say this.
So I think I kept control in a sense of Havoc, but you are the Onyx Marshal, I think.
Okay, you know what? If you want to make him Onyx Marshal, I say we invest him during the next skip campaign. I will say, in terms of controlling Havoc, also remember it's not an informal thing, it is a formal thing, but it's cadre. It's like being leader of a political party. There's a lot of niche groups within that political party, Havoc cadre within the 17th Grand Company.
I get it.
Exactly.
I think I more remain as a spiritual head, if anything. In the sense of
anyone uses spiritual liege, I'm booting them, but otherwise, I take what you say.
Yeah.
So in that case, let's do some exploit. I can find everything. Aha. Cool. Plot progression. Does anyone feel like you made a significant plot progression in that session?
Killed a shitload of Thousand Suns.
That's not plot progression, is it?
Well, it's for some characters.
You're not Space Wolves, despite us rapidly becoming more and more Space Wolf over time.
There are no octopus.
There are no octopi on this ship.
It's not a plot progression to do there are no octopus on missing homeworld.
Our Legion seem to have got closer to the Thousand Suns, both physically at the end and figuratively at the beginning.
You know what I keep meaning to have you guys do is fucking Oaths of Moment, and we never do them, and I keep forgetting. It's very embarrassing.
Oaths of what?
Oaths are basically oaths Astartes take to do certain things, and they wear them on their armor. It's where purity seals come from.
Yeah.
I've got a psychic power that I can do instead of those.
Oh my god!
No, you don't. An Oath of Moment. What? No, that's not a sentence that makes sense, young Nicholas.
Well,
why do you think I immediately just went, oh my god? No, it doesn't. An Oath of Moment is where you say you were going to do something, as in, I will win this battle, or I will win this duel, or I will do a certain task. You do not have a psychic power to state that you are doing a task.
Sorry. I was thinking mechanically, it says, as part of preparations for a mission, a librarian who is acting as a squad leader can choose to use a battle site rather than selecting an oath.
Yeah, we don't follow any of those rules.
Yeah, an Oath of Moment is less...
Which I'm sure it's referring to an Oath of Moment, but obviously you're talking thematically, this is talking mechanically. We don't use the mechanics. I know.
They're more of a... We use some of the mechanics.
It's a knightly vow to do something.
Exactly.
And I will defend the innocent, or I will purge the unclean, Imperium style.
They're also more of a 30k thing than a 40k thing. So Deathwatch has an oath system, but I don't think it's one-to-one equivalent to Oaths of Moment.
It refers to, like, mission objectives and kill markers and so forth.
Yeah, Oaths of Moment are more like... As Benji says, they're a knightly honor thing, and also it's supposed to be, I guess, the Space Marine equivalent of team building. So you take an Oath of Moment with a bunch of people, and you get someone to witness it for you, and that's intended to be like a marker of closeness and how much you value them. Because then, if you fuck it up or fail to do it, then that's like their honor tarnished as well as your own.
I've also got to remember that we're in the time of the Legions. It's basically a great big pissing match as to who gets to be in charge. And Oaths of Moment also function as a way to really separate the men from the boys when it comes to Space Marines, is people go, I have an Oath of Moment to do this. I shall take the head of a great Xenos Titan. And 9 times out of 10, they get murdered trying to kill the Xenotitan, but 1 out of 10 times that person gets it, and it's like, this is someone we should look at for command, because the ability to stab a Xenos Titan in the face means you are good at commanding people.
And that 1 out of 10
Marine
times?
style.
That 1 out of 10 times? Because they have a kaiju in the ship's hold. That makes it fantastically easy to do.
It's not connected to the... God damn it. Oh, I see. You take the kaiju's head. Right, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking you can't stab someone with the kaiju. Like, I'm sorry. Young Nicholas just said a thing, and it's upset me greatly. I haven't... Oh, God. I don't even know how to compare.
Can we just preemptively put as the first quote, I have a psychic power that gives me an oath of moment.
That's not a quote. Okay,
Internalized screaming.
Internalized screaming describes so many of my reactions these days.
It's replacement as well.
Plot progression. Any other plot progression, folks?
Did you get the 1,000 Suns?
Yes.
Cool.
Stop Mortarion?
I guess, does that also...
on a plan of action?
Yeah, to be fair, like, a plan of action did get us through the, some of us.
Character development. Does anyone feel like they developed their character this session? And if so, how?
Go in full Phobius Bile.
There we are.
I think you're a little bit more comfortable with commands this section, don't I?
Yeah, I would say I think you're a little bit more intuitive. Good at intuiting with your commands there, Ollie. We scimitarred a little bit every now and then, but generally that was a bit more like magisterial.
But more flowy.
I'm not sure if it's character development, but the realization for Nazeem that there's now a clock on possibly him and the other psychers being discovered ahead of what he was planning. It's kind of lit a fire underneath him a little bit. It's like, I really have to get this moving now before someone else does it before I do.
Need to find a way to destroy or disguise psychic powers before other people out you. Before they reveal you to the public.
Boring so hard on your fucking psychery shit right now.
It's like, this could be real, like, people don't know that we're psychers, and we come along and we're psychers, and it's just like a really well-kept secret.
Also, actually, a reminder for me for the next session would be, or at least at some point, is I kind of want to ignore Father's orders. In the sense that I want to have an idea of how many psychers we have in the Legion. I know I'm already kind of doing that by asking Nick, but, I'm going to go on a stealth campaign here, I think.
It is an almost incipient grand old tradition of the Legion that the Legion Master immediately gets distracted by stupid cult bullshit. So I say go ahead, Ollie. Disrespecting your Primarch's wishes and orders and or working actively around them. Also, practically a Legion staple at this point, because y'all are nothing if not bolshy.
I will say, actually, Nazeem has been very kind of father. He's like the one that'll obey father.
Nazeem and Coatlmox both have, but that's because they like father, which is also commensurate with how we've portrayed authority in the Legion. You vote for your captains.
He agreed with me on how good machines were earlier, and that really warms my heart. So
exactly.
I dislike father.
No, but this is what I'm saying, is generally Marines in the Second are portrayed as if they either don't like or don't agree with an authority, then they do not necessarily submit to it. If they approve of an authority, then they generally do what it says. But essentially legitimacy in authority derives from the opinions of those beneath you. So, like, Mackie is not disloyal to his Primarch, as far as we've seen, but just because he's not disloyal, that doesn't mean he gives him like ultimate credence in everything he says. Nor, it seems, would anyone in the Legion necessarily expect that. Mild special treatment for a Primarch, but generally I would say it's very understandable from the point of view of the Battle Brothers we've had so far, that if you have issues, you don't necessarily act completely in accordance with your commander. We've seen that at really every stage of every Chronicle so far. Free thinking is very much part of the Legion's culture.
Boris is just going to love us, isn't he?
Probably, actually, yeah. You really jive with the Lunar Wolves.
I mean, he was probably. I was thinking he was actually going to hate us because he was just like, "We should do this." I don't think so. What?
Yes and no, because it's not like you disobey orders for the hell of it necessarily. You're quite, I guess, free-thinking with how your troops operate, and that is Horus's shtick as well. Gilliman
He
would
might
hate
have
you.
met the World Eaters before he meets us, so we'll look like saints.
Yeah. You fall into the same group as, like, the car.
At the moment, I think they've only just found Sanguinia, so at the moment, the Knights are still fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's also that. Like, you guys are bad, but you're not bottom tier yet, basically. Oop, completely misread the character development XP there. That not 100. Excellence of roleplay. Anyone feel like anyone else roleplayed particularly well this session? Nope.
I think we did a lot of sort of in and out of character stuff. I don't know if anyone was particularly in character a lot this session. So
Okay.
Yeah.
No XP there then.
Been a while.
3, 2.
I think. The back and forth with Father about the Xenos on the way back, and so forth. That was quite nice.
Wasn't it about psykers?
Is it psykers? There's a bit of a controversy. It was about psykers. It was also about cloning octopi.
No, that one didn't come up.
No, that.
I think it was just
I'm
psykers,
not
okay.
convinced that I want to put it down. Excellence of roleplay for a conversation that I don't think you were listening to.
It was part of it.
If you don't remember anything that happened in it, Nicholas. You've listed 2 separate things that people talked about.
also the phrase psykers were mentioned is basically every single conversation we've had this week.
That is very true.
I mean, I'm going to put one down. I know I can't do it for myself, but I enjoyed the conversation with Magnus. I thought that was quite fun. So I guess actually I enjoyed Benji's interaction with Magnus as well. So I'm going to put that down as an RP. Because I thought me, Benji, and Magnus all having a good powwow was quite fun. I don't know why. I just did.
Nice to meet a Primarch who isn't a complete shit heel.
It is. It just really is. This is the only Primarch.
Now you need to make the classic Space Marine blunder of declaring Magnus best friend forever, and whenever anyone slags him off, go, no, he never would do that.
I feel like we're going to get, like, when the heresy comes, we're just going to get dragged into the warp bubble with him.
Well, I think it'll make an interesting thing if we're taking the space of the, we're taking the role of the Space Wolves, because when he sends out that psyche message, someone's going to be sent to arrest him / stomp him dead.
I want to break his spine.
Interestingly, there is a Space Wolf rune priest who's best buds with, I don't think it's Ahriman, but it's one of the Thousand Sun sorcerers, who testifies against psychic powers and indeed the entire Thousand Suns philosophy.
Yeah, that's
at Nikea.
No, not Alfir. What's his face, isn't it?
Random.
Something.
No one gives a shit about his name, basically.
No one gives a shit. Yeah. You'll be interested to find out what happens to him.
Who more or less follows the same arc that Nazeem was taking when talking to him. Of Ahriman being all like, yeah, but it's kind of cool and just, be responsible with it. And the Nazeem was saying like, no, I don't know, man. I think it's risky and dangerous. And just because we've got access to it doesn't mean we should necessarily use it, whilst also completely using and abusing it himself.
Yeah, but I'm at least slightly cautious with it.
It's just, that's the exact argument that Space Wolf rune priests make, Nicholas. Is that they're not really doing it, and that they're more cautious, so they should be allowed to not really do it anyway. Is what I was commenting on, is that you can have the exact response the Space Wolves had from a position of buddy-buddiness with the Thousand Suns. It is possible.
Okay, fair enough.
That's
what the White Scars were doing, but equally the White Scars weren't massive hypocrites about it.
Also true. Any other excellence of roleplay? Oh, okay. In that case, I make that out to be 170 experience points for session number 45. That's 30 points of plot progression, the Legion getting closer to the Thousand Suns, pissed off Mortarion / the Death Guard generally at this point, presumably, and decided on a plan of action. 30 points, character development, that's going full Fabius Bile. Mackie got a bit more used to command. Nazeem starting to realise he may not get to reveal his psycheriness, and Nazeem starting to realise he may not get to reveal his psycheriness on his own terms. 10 points, extensive roleplay, discussions with Coayah and Magnus. 1. Don't know why I wrote that. Plus your standard 100 general.
How much was it again? 180, did you say?
170. Which brings us on to everyone's favourite part of the session. It's the highlights. Benji, do you have any highlights for that session?
Young Nicholas fundamentally misunderstands Oath of Moment.
The first time hearing about it.
Going there.
It was just a very deeply funny young Nicholas moment. It's like someone going, I don't know. I struggle to even come up with a comparison for how.
I couldn't even conceive how that made any sense in my head. I just thought about it for a second. It was just error.
No, I'm the exact same way.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to this. I don't think I actually caught it.
Yeah,
the program has reported an illegal operation and will be shut down.
It was a dual knowledge that on the one hand, I can't figure out how that would even conceivably work. But on the other hand, there is no way in hell he doesn't believe with 100% certainty that it makes logical sense. And the two were just not meshing well in my brain. So yeah, Nicholas fundamentally misunderstands. Moments. Sorry, I'm still laughing. Any other highlights, Benji?
Mortarion's a salty bitch.
Terry, you are going absolutely around him here.
I don't answer to him.
He's lucky he's not like the other primarchs we met where we go through him. Not that we could. He's a fully awakened, all-powerful primarch at this point. And all the others have been in various states of distress. But still, the sentiment counts.
We could get a round of free combat on him with you just traumatizing him again, and he's stunned.
Well, it's one of those things of Primarchs are not invincible. You can kill them with Astartes. It's just the situations we've been in of fighting Primarch with Astartes are not the kind of situations you would want to be in to do it. It would be, you could kill him with Astartes, and the best way is to isolate him on a planet and drop 2,000 Astartes, all of them are armed with heavy weapons and best quality power weapons, and just basically dogpile him forever and just stab. Do you remember we threw 50 Terminators on top of our Primarch?
I would have thought glassing him would be easier, actually. Put him on the planet and glass him.
Pretty much, yeah. Just glass him. They're not invincible, but, yeah. Anyway, Mortarion is indeed a salty bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone remember that recent Horus Heresy trailer where Horus is, bare eyes staring at an orbital blast?
Yeah. That's a lance strike. Oh.
Fucking hell. Sorry, I really like that trailer.
It was a good trailer, to be fair. Games Workshop now.
I can't.
That was the worst bit about the trailer. The trailer was great, but it's so put on, that voice. Have it be deep and Centaurian and a little bit evil, but it was
no.
I sidelocked the villain on a straight-to-DVD video game.
I fully agree with you that that's what he sounds like, but I also actually really liked the voice just because it's fully chaos Horus. It's not suave, charming Horus. It's Horus who Abaddon can't love anymore. So I was kind of okay with it. It's cartoonishly evil, but he is by that point.
What's this a trailer for?
The new Horus Heresy edition.
New Horus Heresy trailer.
Yeah, well, it's a good trailer. It made me really want to run a Horus Heresy pen and paper game. I think I watched it 30 fucking times on loop at work, and then started messaging the Wednesday group going, "Guys, do you want to do Horus Heresy?" Cool.
Why do they get all the chaosy stuff?
You can do chaosy stuff sometimes. Well, I mean, you guys are doing your best here. Any other highlights, Benji?
Primarch is a moody teenager.
Oh, there's actually a scene of our drop in the trailer.
There's also possibly the best bit of that trailer is probably the galaxy's stupidest Imperial Fist.
He was making an attempt. I'm going to call pace on the trailer talk. Any other highlights?
But
Benji?
Christ, what did I say? I literally just said one. What was it?
I just put it down.
Oh, there you go. I think that's it for me.
Cool. Cread, do you have any highlights for that session?
The quote from our primarch. I think we should smash them.
Just not paying attention in meetings.
Another quote from old Magnus. Well, I missed the exact quote. A murder like crows?
I see you guys are also men of culture.
Murder, they're quite intelligent then.
I like how you thought my stunned silence was mysterious rather than incredulous.
You see, you activated Magnus's key flaw, hubris. And when he thinks he's right, he does and says really dumb shit. Any other highlights, Creed?
Blind trust in a warp walk. Just, I love how few questions were asked about this whole just travel into the sea of magic and walk through the wall.
It'll be fine. Woo! Oh, dude.
A very interesting personality, does Magnus. He seems very sure about everything.
He's a combination of Sean Connery and Churchill, voice-wise. In what aspect is he comforting?
It's not him. It's his voice, not his voice. His personality. He gives up like I know what the fuck I'm doing vibe. That's what I'm getting from you. That is 100% Magnus's thing. So I'm glad that's coming through. Is he knows what he's doing, or at least he thinks he knows what he's doing, and mostly that Venn diagram overlaps, but not completely. And totally.
I like to think of it like it's when not necessarily it's like just an idiot basically think that this is the best idea that they've ever had. But everyone else, he's so confident, but it's because he's stupid.
Exactly. That's one of my favourite things about his dynamic with Ahriman, is that the Biggie gets a load of stuff wrong. Magnus gets a load of stuff wrong because he's mini Biggie, for arrogance at least. And Ahriman gets a load of stuff wrong, but in a way that's kind of right, because he's Magnus's equivalent of himself. And therefore, because Magnus fucks up so much, just by the fact that Ahriman's fuck up is that he constantly does what Magnus doesn't want him to do, that means that he oftentimes does a lot more things right than Magnus does. Which I have always found deeply funny. Any other highlights, Creed?
That was it.
Cool. Ollie, do you have any highlights for that session?
Nick's impending... Nick's panic. Nick's panic, I think. Just all of Nick's panic.
Fair.
The gifts.
Anything else?
We're going to be the first Drop Site Massacre.
Christ. It's going to be the Drop Site Massacre, and then it'll have to be renamed after the other Drop Site Massacre.
Yeah. Which one was worse? Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Anything else?
Cock blocking Mortarion. It's more like we slid into the planet's DMs. I don't know, something like that. Just the way that we were there, actually, you know what? Creed's message to Mortarion. And the panicked nose, don't do that.
Anything else?
Nah, I ain't got anything. I can't think of anything.
Cool. Young Nicholas, do you have any highlights for that session?
What psykers?
Got him. Investigation deflected. Did someone just play a laugh track?
It was accidental, but I did, yes.
Any other highlights here, Nicholas?
Fuck, there was one. Fuck, I've forgotten that. I had it literally a second ago.
You have till the end of my Carl highlights. Carl, do you have any highlights for that session?
They were all covered, actually.
Time's up, young Nicholas. What's your other highlight?
Can this be a highlight, this moment? It doesn't have to go into the highlights in description. I just want it known.
So Youngly looks out to the end till I've said mine to think about it.
Wait, have you not gone yet?
No, I've done mine. I just thought of what I thought of my last one.
Okay, what's your last one?
The Primarch's friendship with psykers is ended. Now Smash is his best friend.
So long and multi-part, I can't. And he was never friends with
my own.
psykers.
No, it's just the fact that Nazeem was so sad about it. And Nazeem's heart died a little bit that day.
Yeah, a small part of Nazeem died.
In square brackets, Primarch doesn't like psykers.
Makes me sad. But my highlight was how badly can we fuck up deployment.
I'm incredibly happy to see those 2 pairs of 90s on this fairly high-stakes roll.
Yeah, we probably just lost a significant proportion of murder.
Exactly, that's why I said to take the murder, because that's what they're for. They're for dying.
I unironically really wish I hadn't tried to talk you out of sending in Havoc Company, in Terminator armor no less, and then getting those spiked into mountains.
I'm glad you have that. Chat. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You're a good GM. That's why I like
Right,
I
okay.
just pray I never fall to the murder, while we're playing a campaign.
I guess we've not described it as, an incredibly active bloodlust that you can't avoid yet.
No. It's we've pretty much been doing it like a resistance thing. Like every now and then it just gets too much and you need to say it and then you go back to business as usual.
That is true.
Going into the murder is fluid sort of thing.
Exactly. There's probably some level of mobility there.
Like the ocean, we need to ride the wave.
Yeah. And then you reach shore again.
Or, indeed, the Sabbat.
Oh, God.
Thank you, the 2 VTM fans in the audience. Cool. I will have... wait, what the fuck? I will have? Yeah, we're playing another session. Woo, let's go. Session 45. No, thank you all for a very entertaining session number... Oh, this was session number 45. Fuck my brain. Sorry, it was convention.
Cheers for Tuesday. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, what's the last words? Sesh, make noise now. Go, someone.
There are no psykers.
So, one person, please.
No.